All right, so we had some audio issues in this episode, but the content is pretty decent, and honestly, we can't just redo this. You'll know it when you hear it, and we've identified the issue, so it won't happen again. Now I have to shut up so our highly paid announcer can do her job.
You're listening to Slightly Uncomfortable. Are you ready?
Welcome to Slightly Uncomfortable. In the house tonight, we've got Root.
Yep.
And we've got Lloyd.
Hello.
And we decided, Jesus. He hasn't even
It
started
works
drinking.
every time.
It never works.
Yeah.
It never. We haven't even started drinking. He's already howling. Speaking of drinking.
Oh, yeah.
As we've been he hasn't even waited for the toast.
Right.
Fucking alcoholic.
Back on Proby status.
What do you want me to do?
So
kind of eager.
I brought the alcohol for the evening, and I tried an old nemesis of mine. For years, I have spoken poorly about this bourbon. I tried it 2 or 3 times. It hurt me. It punished me every time I drank it. And but I'm trying it again tonight because I think maybe my palate hopefully has evolved. And we are now drinking Four Roses, 80 proof. They're economical bourbon, and been newly labeled, and it's a good looking bottle.
It's a fine looking bottle.
So we're all going to drink it neat. We're all going to do a toast. Thank you, Lloyd, for fucking waiting.
Yes, sure.
Cheers. Let's see what this stuff tastes like. Now you definitely get that rye in that.
Yeah, you do. That's why I love it. It's one of my favorites.
It's got a peculiar mouthfeel.
It's a little light.
Well, and to me, it almost coats the tongue in a non-enjoyable way.
Yeah,
It leaves a bitterness on the very tip of my tongue, and it may just been that was my first sip. So I'm going to continue to see how it evolves.
Once your tongue is numb, it doesn't really matter.
Well, I've always said that first sip of bourbon, is always aggressive, and that second, third, and fourth glass you have, really give a shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So
Bring out the rough stuff.
We decided to go with a little bit lighter topic this evening, given the nature of our last few shows. With the exception of the 3 bourbons in, we have covered politics and religion.
Yep.
So
in depth on both.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was almost like we left the room almost beaten down.
Yeah.
Just the energy that
I think that may have been the bourbon with the politics.
It could have been. It could have been. But you need bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
that got us through. That got us through, really.
Either religion or politics. But tonight we're not covering any of those.
Nope.
We're doing something that I think we're going to have a whole lot of fun with.
Yeah, this is fun stuff here.
And
I got some bones to pick. We'll get to them.
Well,
but I got some bones to pick.
Well, you can never be happy with the seating in any of these things. So.
Yeah. Seating.
And we actually
seating.
Yeah,
I like this.
we did see. I did seat these.
Yeah.
But I actually got this idea from Kentucky Sports Radio, a podcast that Lloyd and I listen to daily, and we've listened to that show for a better part of 10 years.
Yes.
And they do.
I think that's a Matt Jones production. Isn't it?
It is, and he does an amazing job. He's built a network.
Yes.
It's not just the radio show, but the podcast. He has a television show.
Got a bar.
Yeah, he's got a bar. I mean, he's just doing. Now he's on Paul Feinbaum's show with ESPN. He's doing good on him.
Criminal mastermind. That's
He
what
is he's a guy from Middlesboro, Kentucky, from the mountains, and he made it good.
You know what happened in Middlesboro in 1862?
We don't give a fuck. Is what. Let me tell you what happened in Frankfurt in 2019. James don't care. That's what happened.
Apparently the teachers do.
Everything in the world happened in 1862. Apparently,
That's right.
Who's got a story?
That's right.
Well, what is it about 1862?
No, fucker. You don't ask him questions about it. Honestly,
The Civil War was won.
Root is just like
And
an
lost
old
in
person
Kentucky in
that
1862.
You know that you never ask, how's your day going?
Yeah.
How do you feel? How you feeling today?
Unless you've got about 6 hours.
It's like a sign where you say, "Don't pet the dog when you come in." It's like don't ask him questions.
Don't engage when he mentions stuff about things. Yeah. So we've decided to mirror what they did on KSR a couple of years in a row. And we're right in the middle of the March Madness getting ready to start. Conference tournaments are going on, getting ready to fill out brackets like we always do it at work and such. So we created a field of 64 bracket for movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And these, by no means, we're not going back to the era of Citizen Kane and
Gone with the Wind, does it appear on this list?
It is not.
Maltese Falcon. Not
The
here.
oldest movie we have on the list is Wizard of Oz,
Okay.
because I think it still plays well today. You know, my kids know about Wizard of Oz.
Right.
So we've got 64 movies, and we've actually put this bracket out on the Facebook page. And we would love for you all to fill the bracket out if you haven't already. Go on there, fill that bracket out, and then discuss with us when we make a decision that you're not in agreement with. Because we're deciding what the best movies are for us. We're not taking this from a global perspective. We're not talking about Oscars and things like that.
No.
We're talking about what matters to us. That's what
Right.
this podcast is.
Right.
And so the format's going to be simply, we've got the field of 64, and we're going to talk about the matchups. And then each one of us are going to just pretty much give what we kind of think about both of those movies. And then we're going to come to a consensus. Now, if we cannot come to a consensus where all three of us agree, then we have...
We take it to the yard. Last man standing.
Battle. We have three people, so the majority wins. If it's a movie that Root has not seen,
Which is probably 2/3 of these.
there may be some, then Lloyd and I, if we don't agree, we will try to convince him to go on either side, Lloyd's or mine. So let's get this thing going.
Let's go.
First matchup, number 1 seed is The Godfather versus Fletch.
I love me some Fletch. I love Chevy Chase is a genius.
His name's not Chevy.
Whatever.
It's Chevy.
Whatever.
You drive him to work, and then he performs.
Goldie might agree with that. I don't know.
That's back when Chevy Chase was funny.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know when it happened. I don't know how it happened. But that ship sailed.
I think the conversation there is when did he stop being funny? Because he did.
It just hit a wall.
And everyone just turned on him, it seems.
Well, he came out that he was blatantly racist.
Really?
On
I
a
remember
couple,
that.
3 different
I don't
occasions.
remember that.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was his demise. I think it actually happened after. He just started making really bad movies, and people stopped liking him. He was never likable, I don't believe, on Saturday Night Live. If you hear any of the history of those early days, he was only on there 1 year.
Right.
They couldn't stand him. Belushi, Aykroyd, none of those guys could stand him. So and Bill Murray, to this day, hates him.
Wow.
You will hear a visceral reaction if you mention either of those guys' names to one another.
I had no idea that. I've never known Bill Murray not to like anybody.
Right.
So
it speaks volumes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
So we've got Fletch, which is one of the most quotable comedies in the 80s.
yeah.
And we're going to have a few of these.
Right. It's one of those movies that, as a group of movies, one of them that I watched over and over as a teenager.
And I'll still watch it today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fletch
we own
or
it.
Fletch Lives.
Fletch
Yeah.
Lives was also good.
I thought it was good. But it's going up against the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
It's a
number
1
seed.
versus 16.
This is a 1 seed for a reason, kids. This is The Godfather. This is not the trilogy. And we're going to have some of these movies that have got multiple iterations over time.
Yeah.
We're talking about the first one.
And didn't they remake that?
No.
Or are they talking about? I think. Well, they're talking about remaking everything.
Of course,
so.
because there's no original,
thought.
You
Yeah.
know, heaven forbid they write something new. But I mean, we're talking about Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, any of the O's.
Right,
You
all
know,
the O's, I
Jimmy
think.
Kahn. So I mean, it's an iconic movie.
Fletch just doesn't even have a puncher's chance in this one, honestly.
No.
When you're talking about a meatball comedy from the 80s, which the 80s were chock full of fantastic ones, it just can't. It can't.
This is tantamount to Asbury's basketball team getting a 16 seed slot and running into UK.
Right.
Right.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
That's
They
right.
they may Asbury has a fine basketball team, but they're not the Wildcats.
Right.
They're just not.
So we're going to go on and not belabor this and just move The Godfather on to the
Absolutely.
next round.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So the next matchup is
God.
The Jerk, and Titanic.
And see, The Jerk is much like Fletch. They came out kind of about the same era of movie. So I hate to see it up against a supposed juggernaut in Titanic.
But we're also 3 men sitting in the basement drinking bourbon.
right.
So are we going to, with any clean conscience, say that we enjoyed the movie Titanic better than we do the movie The Jerk?
Yes.
My God.
Everybody drink.
You can put your purse down over there, Ruth.
Please,
Please give us your perspective on that. I mean, because I'll be honest, I've never seen the movie.
You need to see. Well,
Because it
don't
came
need to see
out,
it.
the boat sinks, people die. I don't need to make it romantic. It was a foregone conclusion to me.
Yeah.
There was nothing mysterious. So only thing they were going to do was to make Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio fall in love. And I don't need that. I didn't have a woman in my life at the time that was forcing me to do it to get her wares. So I just passed.
you know, I'm a history guy. I've always been fascinated by that boat, and
Well, it wasn't around that long. It was.
it was
This
actually
is this is just a
Maidenwood.
fictional adaptation, though, of that. It's not
But-
like it's a documentary.
Right, that
That's a good point.
that is a good point. However, the way that ship sank was proven accurate
Okay, a boat
in
sunk.
in the
I
movie.
mean, really, how catastrophic? I mean, I understand it's catastrophic, but how entertaining is a boat fucking sinking can be?
For me, I love
You've
it.
got a bunch of damn millionaires.
Not all.
You've got a majority of wealthy folk that drowned because they wanted to take the inaugural ride on a boat that can't sink that sunk.
And a bunch of folks that got trapped underneath because the rich fuckers wouldn't let them out.
Was
That's
that
a
in the
story
movie?
that don't get
Was
told.
that in the movie?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you what I like is the jerk. I was born a poor black
I
child.
was born a poor Dutch child. Thank you. Thank you.
You know,
He hates these cans. Stay away from the
I
cans.
failed my special purpose. Name 3 quotes from Titanic. Boom, go.
no.
Because he doesn't know them. They're not, it's not a quotable movie.
Hey, this is like a ride.
I'm on top of the world. See, I didn't even see it. I knew a quote.
Yeah.
Because for me, the way the boat was portrayed, the boat, I don't care about the rest of the characters, the way that the boat was portrayed and how it sunk and all of the engineering that they factored in to making that boat sink in the movie, the way that it actually sunk. That's important to
It
me.
seems like a whole lot of information about something.
And I don't want to shit on the jerk. I love the jerk, but I think in this matchup, come on.
Well, it doesn't, just because you want to see one move forward over another, doesn't mean you don't like the one that you're passing.
Right. And I appreciate both of these
There's very
movies.
few movies on this list that I don't like. 'Cause
No,
I
there's
made
a
the
few.
fucking list.
He made the list,
yeah,
so you
yeah.
know.
So, all right.
Look, if you're-
we'll put it to a vote, or go ahead.
If you're, if you've got two TVs in front of you, you got a choice. Are you watching The Jerk or are you watching Titanic? I'm watching The Jerk every time.
Titanic
My
all
vote,
day.
my vote is The Jerk.
Root,
Titanic.
and the jerk moves on.
Oh my God.
Split decision.
So my bracket's already busted.
Like you actually filled it. You didn't fill
I
it all the
did.
way.
How,
You know,
how,
this-
I
how
did
far
fill
did
it
you
all
have the
the way-
Titanic going?
Let me see. Let me see here. Got to touch the magic thing here.
oh,
No. There's no touching the magic thing in this basement.
So maybe my bracket's not fucked up. If you boys have the jerk taking the Godfather out in the next
Oh,
round,
don't get ahead of us. Don't get ahead of us.
Get ahead
now.
of us. Let's not.
but I had Titanic going out in the next round.
Okay. So you're not hurt that bad.
No, I'm not.
So,
hurt that
so
bad.
the next matchup is Tombstone versus Apocalypse Now.
I just want to reach across this
Go
table.
ahead.
I just want to reach across this table and slap the stupid out of this boy.
Well, that's not going to be the first or the last time you see him. That's gonna
How in the world? Okay, so Tombstone is a higher seed.
I mean, once it got down to this part, it was in the ballpark. All right. I mean, I didn't
Okay.
even seek this thing.
It's
out
an 8
before.
versus 9 matchup.
I
Okay.
pretty much went 1 to 2s, the 3s and 4s, and then I just started filling. in
Okay.
the blanks.
Okay. But wow.
But now,
I mean,
I'll let you-
I think Apocalypse Now could have been number 1 seed in any of these other regionals we're talking about here. But the fact that you put them together, and
now this has just become about James. That's really what I was going for.
when is it not just about James?
Keep trying to tilt it.
Jay, you were thinking, how can I seed these in a way that's going to get him the most upset?
Yeah, well, and trust me, you're going to get upset later, Lloyd.
I already know that. I've looked ahead.
So since we have to do this with these two classic films, this is how I'm judging this. If you're scrolling through the TV, right, and you get down in those 100 channels or wherever AMC's, all that stuff, how often do you find Tombstone, and then how often do you find Apocalypse Now? I see Tombstone on once a week.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it also is because Turner bought the movie. I mean, it has nothing to do with the popularity of the movie. It has everything to do with whether they could buy it or not.
Well,
That's how Turner Classic Movies and AMC and TBS and all that shit works.
that may well be the case.
Yeah.
That may well be the case, but I don't think if you put them both in theaters today for free, you're going to have a fuller theater for Tombstone than you are Apocalypse Now. Now, I love Apocalypse Now, but
Did you love it then or now?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because then it's Apocalypse then.
Apocalypse then.
And then, he did not even.
I just walked right into
He
it.
walked right into it. Yeah.
I just walked right into it. It's been a hell of a week, folks. So
Well, it's gonna be fun. Drink up.
I have to push Tombstone forward
Okay.
with
know,
a very, very, very close.
I probably have watched Tombstone as many times as any movie on this whole list. I mean, there was a time in my life I could sit and watch it just all the time. It's just a great guys movie.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the justified cinema.
It is. It is.
It's the cinema
it is.
version. I mean, because I would agree. I think I've probably seen that as much, if not more, than any other movie.
Any other movie, yeah.
Now, but if you're talking about it from a cinematic standpoint, I mean, my God, the special effects that were in Apocalypse Now was state of the art, and for decades after that,
Yeah.
it was still some of the best scenes
Yeah.
that had ever been filmed
Yeah,
in a movie.
I'm not sure there was much in the way of special effects there.
But just the way that it was filmed,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
amazingly, I don't want to say beautiful, but emotion-filled
Mm-hmm.
movie. Whether that would transfer to today, I don't know. I've not watched it in years, and I think that's why we're all going to choose Tombstone on this. Is I can't tell you the last time I watched Apocalypse Now, because we're talking about Fletch earlier, talking about the jerk. If I'm thumbing through the channels on a Saturday or Sunday when it's raining and I'm laying on the couch, I don't really want to think about war. I don't really want to think about boats sinking route.
1862.
I would rather see the jerk trying to guess somebody's weight.
See-
Or I'd rather want to see Fletch, in his alter ego, talking about the gook on the plane, airplane. To me, it's about, as you get older, life gets harder, and sometimes you just need something to escape. And I think Tombstone does a beautiful job at that. However, it's a bit of a hokey movie.
It is. It is.
And you can say the same thing about Justified if you're talking about TV shows. It's not filmed all that great. It's a little melodramatic.
Some parts
It's a
of
little
it.
over the top. It's not historically accurate. Generalities it is. But if you would read about that, Doc Holliday was not as polished as what Val Kilmer showed him to be. He was extremely rough and gruff and heinous. He would cut somebody and not make it look poetic.
Mm-hmm.
He would brutally take people out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so
But-
would Wyatt Earp.
Oh yeah.
I mean, two of the most, just aggressively violent people in the Old West.
Of a sort, yeah.
And at times they would do it for fun.
I don't know about Earp.
Earp would beat somebody down instead of shooting them.
Well, that is
He
fun.
didn't like shooting people.
No, he
He
didn't.
just wanted to beat them up.
Right.
Because then they can heal up and he can do it
John
again.
and Tyler, I forgot you were there. You may go,
Madcap. Where are you going with that shotgun?
"Oh, Kate, you're not wearing a bustle. How lewd." So, that says a lot about the type of movie we're talking about.
Well-
We're not quoting Apocalypse Now.
Right, right.
So I think beyond a shadow of a doubt, we're
The
taking
horror.
Tombstone.
The horror.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tombstone.
yeah.
Yeah.
We got to take Tombstone out.
Tombstone.
All right, so the next matchup, this is a good one, guys. This is Ghostbusters versus A Few Good Men. Jump on it, boys.
I'm
We'll let
Lloyd.
Lloyd go first on this one.
Well, loved Ghostbusters. I don't know how much it holds up today.
Oh, I love it today.
Yeah. A Few Good Men has got great actors and actresses, and it's just really well done. That would be my vote. Would be A Few Good Men.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters was great at the time.
I think Ghostbusters 2 may be better. When you're, I think it may be because I think the villain's better. I think the guys are more comfortable in their roles.
I
It's
guess.
not quite as hokey. But it is an 80s comedy.
And it's camp
slash,
and
yeah.
you
Nobody
know,
steps on a church in our town.
right. I'm not big on comedies, especially slapstick.
Well, we know you're not because
Right.
you want to see things sink and people
yeah,
die.
Yeah, I do. Lots of them. You know, I look back on history
No,
and
all right,
see
no,
all
so
the
it's my
great
turn now.
genocidal maniacs of the day.
It's my turn now. So
I think they were onto something.
I'm going to agree with you all that A Few Good Men wins this one. To me, it's not close.
No.
When you talk about the lineup of Tom Cruise, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Bacon, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, I mean, the dude from ER, Noah
Wiley.
I mean, it just, the list goes on and
Oh
on.
God.
No, he
The
wasn't in that.
lieutenant.
Oh, Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Sutherland.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Damn.
And I want to tell you what, I watched this, it was probably about 6 months ago, and I hadn't seen it in a bit. And I'm like, well, I'll put that on, and I was doing some research on a computer and thing. I'll put it on the background. I want to tell you, within 10 minutes of that movie starting, the computer was put away, and I was dialed in.
Yeah.
And when a movie can do that, after as many times as I've seen it,
Yep.
and because you're waiting for that scene where Nicholson is talking to Cruz, not just the one in the courtroom, but when Cruz is wearing his whites and he's visiting Guantanamo,
Yeah.
right, and you see just that Kathy versus, I mean, I still think it's one of the better movies ever written,
Right.
and one of the best casts ever cast.
Absolutely. That ensemble cast could not be beat. Even for the time to put Demi Moore in that prosecutorial role, facing up against Cruz and Bacon.
I thought Kevin Pollak was a huge plus in that movie. He does not get nearly the notoriety for the way he does that role.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's lost with all of those big names we mentioned. But my God, he is good in that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
The way he turns his character, the way he hates those two officers that they're defending because they picked on a kid.
Yeah.
And you know that was Kevin Pollak that he used to be picked on. I thought it was just, the layers there are surprising.
Yeah.
Even when you look back on it.
And up until that scene, you think he's just, career Navy dude. I'm just here cashing the check, on and on and on. But in that scene,
He owns it.
oh, he owns it, and it turned the entire story around.
Well, and the fact that he's standing there with Cruz and Demi Moore, and he owns that scene, that speaks to the power of his acting ability
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it does.
So we got A Few Good Men moving on. Bye-bye, Ghostbusters. Coming up next, this may be one of the more I don't give a shit in here, but, I mean, we got Fight Club versus Harry Potter. Fight Club being Ed Norton and Brad Pitt, and Harry Potter being a bunch of people I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
But now, Harry Potter, I know the books was one of the first series of books that got kids at a very young age wanting to start to read.
Right.
And I really give the book series a hell of a lot of credit.
J.K. Rowling did a fantastic job.
Yes, but I'll be honest, I've tried to watch the movie 3 or 4 times, and I just can't do it.
Harry didn't bring nearly as big enough wand to take on Fight Club.
Oh, okay. That was almost like Lloyd talking about animal cruelty when we was discussing abortion. I mean, I didn't really. You got to it.
Where were you going to?
And for that, we're all appreciative. But now, but then you got Fight Club, and I think that is a fantastic psychological drama. I don't want to say it's a thriller, but it's a dark drama. Right. And for my money, if you put Ed Norton in a movie, there's a damn good chance I'm going to like it. Because he has a great ability to pick really odd, obscure, but very deep movies.
And play villains
Yeah.
Yeah.
just freakishly well.
Yep. What was the one with him and Richard Gere, where Richard Gere was the prosecutor or the defense attorney, and Ed Norton was the guy that killed the priest, and he played like he was mentally challenged with multiple personalities. Oh, I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah.
It is. I watched it. Oh God, I watched it just not a few months ago, but it was like from the 80s as well.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen that, I mean, the twist. I'm not even going to give it away. The twist at the end, you don't even see coming.
Yeah.
And it's all Norton.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what about you, Lloyd? Do you have anything on this, or we're just going to put Fight Club through?
Let's just put Fight Club on through. I don't think that's a fair
yeah,
fight.
No, it's not.
Oh, you see what he did
Yeah,
there?
I did. And we've talked about Fight Club a little bit too much.
Right, we can't talk about
We
Fight Club.
can't talk anymore about Fight Club.
No.
In fact, we should probably put Harry Potter on.
No, we can't do that.
No.
We're men in the basement. Now, if we were sitting down here having our weekly meeting of World of Warcraft, or if we were playing little Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
maybe we
Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry, I offended both of them in one phrase. Oh,
Easy.
I met my wife at a D&D game. I shit you not.
that story has never been told. That is the only
Breaking.
time.
This is breaking news.
The first
it's
time
true.
in the
It's
40-year
true.
history of Dungeons and Dragons, someone made it.
Someone has started a successful relationship
shut
over
up.
D&D.
Been around a little longer than 40 years. You're wrong.
Oh my god.
All right, next matchup. This is a juggernaut here, kids. This is Braveheart versus the Wolf of Wall Street. Jump on it, boys.
Okay. I have not seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, this is going to be a good one then.
I can't, and because I haven't seen it, therefore I must comment on it.
I have an opinion on something I've never seen.
Of course I do. It's what we do here. Hey, Mikey, I think he likes it.
So,
I'm wearing the hell out of this Four Roses, kids.
so I'm guessing that you're going to tell us whether or not Braveheart is historically accurate or not.
No,
Accurate?
Accurate. No, I'm not. What I'm going to say though is back in the 80s again, there was a movie called Greed by Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen and the clips and the talking about Wolf of Wall Street, kind of echoes Greed.
It's a very, very broad application.
Okay.
Now, you could say that yes, it's about the same industry, it's, trading on
Right.
Wall Street, but the bones of Wolf of Wall Street is fucking awesome.
Okay.
And I will say that this is a 3-hour show.
It's a long movie.
A 3-hour show.
You
and
should never sing again.
Once look at your watch.
Oh, okay.
Except when it's over, you go, man, I wish it was longer. I mean, it is hands down to me the best performance Leonardo DiCaprio has ever done. And he's done a lot of really good performances.
Yeah.
He owns that movie. It has got, if you've got children, never let them around this damn thing. He snorts cocaine out of a stripper's asshole.
That's adventurous.
And he was married to, who's the girl from Suicide Squad? Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
He was married to her and was still going out with prostitutes.
Yeah.
So you talk about some swag. All right.
Nah, let's
Poor
talk
choices.
about some stupid. Yeah.
But I mean, this is arguably one of the most entertaining, crazy, dark, funny. It's almost like a Pulp Fiction in the sense that it hits every nerve multiple times, and you don't even see how it interweave. It's got Matthew McConaughey in it for the first 10 minutes, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Anytime you can do that brief cameo, and I actually have posted it on my Facebook page. I mean, it's so good.
Right.
On the other hand, you got Braveheart, which I think was amazing at the time. I don't know that I would ever want to watch it again.
I enjoy it. I enjoy Braveheart, but I'm under no illusions as that it 10,000% fiction.
Well, and also it may just be like a guilty pleasure. You just enjoy the movie.
yeah.
You're not saying that it's a monumental success, historically accurate type
right.
shit.
That
Enjoy the movie.
So far as medieval combat is concerned, they got that pretty well spot on, I think, because I'm that old or something. But because I haven't seen Wolf, I got to go with Braveheart here.
Yep.
So y'all need to convince me, and you're working on it.
All right.
So
What do you think, Lloyd? Lloyd has not even mentioned.
Oh,
By
this,
the way,
this is
just
tough.
So we have not mentioned this, and I feel a little bad about it. Lloyd has a new haircut.
he does. It looks like
now
somebody.
Lloyd is pushing 50 years old, and I have convinced him over these years that I've known him that he needs to grow some facial hair.
Yeah.
And he's done that and done it well.
Yes, yes.
He's sporting a very, very nice goatee.
Yep.
Shows up to the house, and he's very fortunate in that he still has his hair. much like I do. Because
I thought you were going to say we were talking about shaving him before we brought him down here because
but,
this shit ain't working.
Well, but I told Lloyd long ago because he used to wear his hair in a burn. And I'm like, dude, you're pushing 50. You still got a full head of hair. Use that. And he's got the salt and pepper going. I mean, it works. And most guys our age don't have that. So he shows up today, gets out of his car. Now, Lloyd is about 6'4", and probably he's pushing 280, 290, give or take, the day of the week, and if he's had supper yet.
Right.
And he gets out of his car, and he's wearing a fucking mohawk.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a fat woman sat on the top of his head and clenched. And then got up, and that's what his hair left.
And I'm just thankful that James is talking about somebody else's hair tonight and not mine.
This, Lloyd, I'm gonna tell you this, and I mean this with love.
Look out, Lloyd!
Oh no!
Run!
You have the worst hair in the room,
Well,
and Root's hair.
Yeah. That's pretty rough, man. That's pretty rough.
I'm surprised I wasn't asked to put a hat on.
Well, you know what? I'm just waiting for you to drink up a little bit more before Rose, and I'm gonna go get the Clippers. All right. So, what do you think between The Wolf of Wall Street and Braveheart?
Oh, I've watched Braveheart many, many times. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I've probably owned it in every format you can buy it in. I think I had it in VHS. It was on 2 cassettes because it was so long.
Yeah.
So-
we are talking about 2 very
Yeah,
long
these
movies.
are both very long movies, and it's a good raw movie. It's kind of there's too much violence in it for it to be a feel-good movie, but it's kind of a raw.
Well, let's calm down now.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
But Wolf of Wall Street was pretty epic. I mean, it was just a masterpiece almost. I mean, it really was
it
good.
didn't really get, I don't think, the critical acclaim that it should have.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, when you're talking about sexy, raw, dirty, funny, and you got the star-studded lineup too, I think it's really, and it's one that still transfers to today, which I don't think you can say that about Braveheart. Because number one, look what Mel Gibson is now compared to what he was then.
Yeah, but
But I mean, it's tough. It's tough to still look at him the same way.
it's hard for me to look at art, whether it's a movie, a song, a painting, a sculpture, and judge that piece of art by what the artist did.
I get that.
So,
but for me to enjoy a movie like Braveheart, I have to be vested in the main character. And the main character
Was William Wallace.
was all Mel Gibson because he was bringing that from when he was in Lethal Weapon.
Right.
He was riding that high
Yeah,
that
that
he
was
had.
his heyday for sure.
And the mullet and all that sort of stuff. And he was badass back then. But then, man, he fell hard. But you got Leonardo DiCaprio, that I'm not saying was ever necessarily as iconic as Gibson. But
Yet.
the fucker has not aged in 30 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
He still looks 12.
I mean, he was on Titanic,
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street, Django Unchained, all of those.
Now, that's one we should have had in this.
I thought about it, but it's not. I already have a Quentin Tarantino in this.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I didn't do that.
that was a good flick.
I agree. Now, what do you think?
Okay.
What's your vote?
Well, in every NCAA tournament, there's always those last-second shots, those upsets. So my vote is for Braveheart.
I am already angry.
See?
See,
It's going down.
oh,
Watch that clock tick.
all right, I'm gonna go on and say fuck you and fuck you. All right, so next matchup. This is going to be a tough one, kids, because of our age.
Yeah.
If
But-
you were 30 years old and
boy.
doing this bracket, nobody give a shit about this one.
Oh, my
But our age, the next matchup of Caddyshack and Animal House matters.
Wow.
Epic. Well, what? Early 80s?
Yeah, I mean, I think Animal House preceded Caddyshack a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So average it out and call it 80, 81.
Late
something like that.
70s, early 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. Two of the most influential comedies to come out of that era.
Kind of coming of age, and that was really popular in the 80s, was those coming of age.
Yeah.
Caddyshack was not so much as Animal House. Animal House was based in, a freshman year of college for Flounder, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Pluto.
Pinto.
It was Flounder and Pinto. Good pull, Lloyd. And then you've got Caddyshack with Ted Knight. And,
Damn near everybody.
Yeah, I mean, Rodney Dangerfield, Chevy Chase. No.
Lacy underalls.
Oh. And that's the funny thing, and we're going to mention this probably a few times throughout the
You'll
show.
get nothing and like it.
Is the people that were attractive in that era would not be attractive at all by today's standards. Lacey Underall, if you look back on that show, is not anywhere close to being as hot as we once remembered her being.
Well, it's 'cause we
just
were
thought
12.
We just thought she was hot because she showed her boobies.
That's it.
And then that little girl that I can't remember the guy's name, the main character that had a crush on, she's homely. If you look back on her
I
now,
thought she was cute as a button.
I did then.
I still do.
Look back on it now. You won't.
I do.
You won't.
I've seen it.
You won't.
I own it.
You're weird.
We watch it 2 or 3 times a week.
We'd have to
Oh,
watch it again.
that's creepy.
Week.
That's just.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
seems-
Caddyshack's
seems
an
too
all-time
much.
favorite.
Yeah.
But then you've got Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And if I'm gonna go in and give my opinion on this one. You got Caddyshack, then you got Animal House, you've got John Belushi and that cast of characters, and the music was on point on both of these.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we'll see in these '80s comedies, especially,
A lot of
is
time.
the soundtracks are on point.
You know, I don't think you can make a comedy in the 80s without Kenny Loggins. I just don't think it's possible.
or a picture of Jesus. He was very busy in the '80s.
Yes, he was.
Posing as Jesus or singing "Fall into the Danger Zone." Or whatever. But I love Animal House. I love its irreverence. I love John Belushi. I love everything about it. But if I'm going to vote for one of these two, it's got to be Caddyshack, because what John Belushi brought to Animal House was amazing. What Bill Murray brought to Caddyshack, and then along with Chevy Chase and along with Ted Knight
And Dangerfield.
I think you cannot touch that cast.
No, you can't.
That's
It is
one of the best comedies of all time.
all time. At least in our age.
One of
at
the
least
best,
in our
yeah,
era. Yeah.
So are we moving Caddyshack along?
You know,
Lloyd?
I think.
Uh-oh.
It doesn't matter what you think now. We've
we-
already
the
gone.
majority rules.
Yeah, but I think you have convinced me because of all the people that were in Caddyshack, where it was kind of a one-man show as far as stars when it came to.
Yeah, I mean,
Animal House.
the guy Tim Mathis was in that, and there were a few other notables, but there was no stars.
No.
Yeah.
So
Nobody came out of Animal House and made a career out of it.
Correct.
Belushi came out of Animal House and made a career out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Caddyshack.
Yep.
yeah. It's Caddyshack. Yeah. Next matchup: The Dark Knight versus Groundhog Day. Now, The Dark Knight is, everything else we said is going to be the first in the series of movies if there's a series. We actually have 2 Batman movies in these brackets. The Dark Knight is the one with Christian Bale, and I can never remember the dude that played the Joker's name that committed suicide. It's not River Phoenix. It's anyway.
Heath
I don't think
Ledger.
it's him
Heath
either.
Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Yes. So it's that one. And then you've got, of course, Groundhog Day, yet another Bill. This is the 3rd Bill Murray in this bracket.
In one
I was
bracket.
thinking about that.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a stacked
And you
Bill
don't
Murray
think
bracket.
that Bill Murray is that great of an actor, but look at the movies he's been in.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like Bill Paxton.
yeah,
He's been in everything.
he has,
And always amazing.
But now he's dead.
He is dead.
Yeah, he's currently dead. He did die.
I didn't even know it.
Oh, let's give Lloyd a moment.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
that's
over it.
enough.
Okay.
So go ahead, boys. Dark Knight or Groundhog Day? Oh, Groundhog Day also has one of the prettiest women of all time in cinema to me, Andie MacDowell. I
she's
find
pretty.
her so damn endearing, and she just looks wholesome and pure, and she got a little bit of a sex appeal to her. It's got no, it's not William Hurt in that one. It is Andie MacDowell though.
It is Andie MacDowell.
Yeah.
I do not find her attractive at all. I don't know why. There is something about her that I do not find her attractive at all, and I don't know why people in that time was so crazy about her.
Well, anytime that you have a haircut like that and you're saying Andie MacDowell's not attractive, I'm thinking I know which side of the fence you play on. I'm glad you're on that side of the table. That's the only thing I'm saying.
You
Because
bring a
Andie
scarf?
MacDowell is fucking adorable.
I
Do you
disagree.
agree, Root?
Yeah.
I
I think she's cute.
She never did anything for me. Never at all.
The one
All
girl,
right, pointy hair.
the one girl that hasn't done anything.
Yeah, she's the one that has it. Yes,
We finally found it.
she's the one. So
All right, so Dark Knight, Groundhog Day.
It's still on Lloyd. He got
Went
caught
off
up.
on the Andy McDowell.
Yeah, he started.
I'm
flying
going
his
to put my
rainbow
thinking
flag.
chip down. Y'all go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thinking chip.
He put his thinking chip down.
Well, that's like in poker when you have you put your chip down like you're thinking.
yeah.
That's what
It's-
it comes
Trying to
out.
make a decision.
Okay.
All right. I'll go ahead and jump on this one. I thought The Dark Knight was fantastic. However, it's a comic book movie, and I absolutely loathe Christian Bale.
Oh,
Because I think Christian, I don't care. It's sad when part of my opinion is going to be based on how I know about what I know about the actor. And I understand what you were saying earlier, and I agree with that. But I can't help but to tarnish it a bit. And it's a very dark, given the name, also, it's a very dark movie. And there is nothing lighthearted at all anywhere in this movie. And it makes you just want to kick a puppy by the time you get done watching this. And Groundhog Day is just fun. And it's Andy McDowell.
He's stuck on her, I think.
I could get stuck in her. I mean, she's like 85 years old, and yes. I can't say that I'm going to vote for Groundhog Day. I am going to say it. I don't think it's as quick as what this initial appearance would lend to. Because most people would immediately say Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's never been a movie like Groundhog Day before, and there's not been one like Groundhog Day since. They push it just to the point of it getting fucking irritating.
Yeah.
And then they turn it. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was extremely well done. That's like a John Hughes movie. I don't know if he directed this movie or not, but it acts like a John Hughes movie, where he just pushes it right to the edge of where it's going to fail, turns it and makes it wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
I think it was easier to make Dark Knight because there's such a precedent set from the Batman genre.
Yeah.
It was not hard to write that movie.
No.
But to write Groundhog Day and to make it work instead of just being a throwaway.
I'm not so well versed in the Batman. How many Batman movies are there
86.
now? Like 7?
86.
Yeah.
86.
So, but I believe that this is the first Batman flick to include Ra's al Ghul as a core character.
I don't know who that is.
And when Bruce
John
Wayne
Rondo played point guard for Kentucky.
Yeah.
When Bruce Wayne goes off to the snowy mountains and his master out there, that's Ra's al Ghul. And Liam Neeson played him.
Okay. I have no recollection of any of this.
I believe, and listeners help me out here. Like I say, I'm kind of the village idiot when it comes to a lot of things, but particularly Batman movies.
I'm not going to disagree.
So, but I believe that's the first time that we've seen Ra's al Ghul on film as a character rather than just an entity, and performed well. Based on that, given everybody's kind of hemming and hawing as to who we're going to push forward, I want to go with the Dark Knight.
All right, Lloyd.
Oh my goodness!
Don't forget about the Ra's al Ghul factor.
Very, very important.
Which I never heard of before now, and I will forget immediately after this.
Ra's al Ghul will not forget you.
I think because of Heath Ledger in this movie, it is more memorable than the other 86 Batman movies.
I think that is a valid point, is that when there is a series, a block of movies, and this is the one that is not even close to the rest, then it speaks volumes to the validity. Not that this was just another Batman movie.
Right.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger as Deep Freeze or whatever it is. But you've got a iconic character in Batman and a iconic villain in the Joker that had been portrayed very well by Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a campier version, yes. But at that time, still very well.
Well, and I think Ledger
took the campiness away.
I think Nicholson's portrayal of the Joker was more from the 60s television show with Adam West.
Absolutely. Bam, pow, wow.
Exactly.
I've got a smile permanently on my face.
Yeah. Where Ledger's version of the Joker made him real. Yeah. That's the Joker you don't want to fuck with.
And honestly, you kind of rooted for him a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And anytime you have that villain that you actually enjoy the villain more than you do the hero, then I think that's an extremely well done role. I would agree. I'm going to go in and put
Dark Knight for me.
ahead as
Dark
well.
Knight.
So that concludes our first bracket.
Our Northwest Regional.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to move on down to the Southwest.
Southwest Regional.
And I want to tell you what, guys, this is a tough matchup for me. This is Shawshank Redemption versus Ocean's 11. Now, I'll start off on this one. I loved the original Ocean's 11 movie.
The original?
Yes. With
Back in the day.
Sinatra
Yeah,
and
okay.
Martin and all of those guys. Found it amazing. Talking about one of the best ensemble casts of all time. And then I hear that it's going to get remade. And I'm like, what? Really? No. And then I see Pitt and Clooney and Bernie Mac. And oh my God. It just, and you've got, one was, Julia Roberts wasn't in that one. But
Oh, daggone it.
Julia Roberts was in Ocean 13.
12.
Yeah, Ocean's 12.
Yeah.
How many oceans are there exactly?
There's three of the movies of the remakes.
Okay.
Well, and
Because there's the Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8 is one I've got to see.
Yeah.
But, daggone it, the guy, the older gentleman.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, the Jewish guy. I mean, he's Jewish guy.
Yeah.
There's a couple Jews.
Oh, I
in that
cannot
movie.
believe I.
Speaking of Jews, we've got Schindler's List coming up. There was a bunch of Jews in that.
Yeah. For a little
Not the
while.
whole movie.
For a little while. They dwindled over time. Oh, God, we're all going to hell.
They got paid by the hour.
Oh, my God. Oh, Lord.
So Shawshank Redemption.
Maybe our last show.
Ocean's 11.
That was terrible.
I'm going Shawshank.
I
I think one of the best movies ever.
I have to go with Shawshank. I mean, Ocean's 11 is one of the greatest modern heist movies
Yes.
ever made.
Yes. And the fact that Clooney and Pitt did such a good job.
Oh,
and,
my God.
And they epitomized cool.
Yeah.
And that's really what I was wondering when you're talking about a Sinatra. I mean, to me, Clooney was Sinatra.
Yeah.
And he was that well, and then you got, who was the co-star? Was Martin in Ocean's 11? The original
Dean?
Martin?
I believe so.
And that was the Brad Pitt character.
Yeah.
And instead of drinking, Brad Pitt was eating in every scene.
Yeah, there was a big thing made of him eating in every scene.
Yeah. So, but again, we're not discrediting the one that lost. But when you're going up against a number one seed, which is Shawshank Redemption with Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins, a Stephen King written movie, which a lot of people don't get that because they always think of Stephen King with
horror.
Misery and It
Yeah.
and all that. This was not a horror movie, but my God, it was so well done.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Speaking of him eating all the time, there's a site. I don't know what it's. I can't remember what it is now, but it talks about just.
It's Pornhub, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. it is,
Okay.
sure. Screw ups in movies, so it'll point out things that aren't quite
Yeah,
right.
they've got some
And-
bad ones.
And in Ocean's 11, if you watch, sometimes he'll be eating out of a saucer, and then they'll cut to another person and come back to him, and he's eating out of a bowl. So they did it. They kind of messed up a lot. So he'll actually be eating out of different things, and they kind of screwed up during the movie. But he's always eating.
All right, so Shawshank moves on. I don't think that's an argument.
No.
But
no.
we're paying mad respect to Ocean's 11.
Absolutely.
That's one of those shows on Saturday afternoon. If it comes on, I'm watching it.
I don't care when it's on. I'm watching it.
Yeah.
We're spending a lot more time talking about it than we are the winner.
Well, because I think we're just trying to pay a little bit of respect because it's the last time we're going to talk about this in the whole fucking bracket.
Yeah.
Next one, boy, this is going to be a fun one, especially for Root. I know that.
I already know.
Rocky Horror Picture
Winner.
Show versus American Beauty.
Who?
We're not doing this.
I've already done it. Do you see people dressing up as Kevin fucking Spacey to go see this movie?
No, they're already downtown Lexington on Saturday night. Just on the street you don't want to go to.
I've probably been on them streets.
Oh,
I-
you're a man in a scarf.
I grew up down them parts, buddy. Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so Rocky Horror for
Rocky
Lloyd.
Horror for Root. Thank you.
For Root,
Let's not speak for Lloyd. I know he's on probation again, but let's not speak for
I'm
him.
on probation again.
Your hair.
Oh,
Your
for
hair.
If you could be put on probation for hair, Root,
Hey, I'm a founder and the talent.
you're not sweating as much.
I haven't wiped off the table yet. I'm not making noise with my hands.
So,
All right, you're working your way back.
Lloyd.
I love American Beauty. To me, it's kind of an underrated movie, and I just really like it. I like American Beauty. I don't really care about Rocky Horror.
Oh my God!
Never.
How can you not care about Rocky Horror?
Don't really care.
You know, part of me says I should give my honest opinion. And the other part of me should say, fuck you, Wolf of Wall Street. But I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna
He's
be
not
honest.
vindictive like that.
No.
Root and I spoke about this in a previous Three Bourbons In. And although I'm aware of Rocky Horror Picture Show and I'm aware of the iconic nature
And the culture that surrounds it.
Absolutely. I'm aware of that, and the cult following that it
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
Sure.
That by that same token, I don't listen to the Grateful Dead. I don't follow as a fish head. I'm not a parrot head. I respect that following, although I'm not something. That's not something I will participate in. So, with that being said,
House of Cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cards.
It's complete fourth wall. But
The great thing of it is, we were talking about this an hour and a half ago, and Tourette Boy over there came up with House of Cards.
House of Cards. House of Cards. House of Cards.
Anyway,
I think one of those four roses caught me.
the one memory I have of American Beauty, and I've seen it a couple, 3 times. It's not something you watch over and over again, which I think that would lend to Roots'
Thank
perspective,
you.
is that Rocky
Watch that
Horror
over and over,
is
yeah,
something you watch
sure.
over and over again.
It's a crap movie.
But when I
it's fun.
watched it, I was at the Kentucky Theater for the first time in Lexington, and you know that setting is amazing. And then this was honestly one of the first kind of artsy films that I had seen, because this was what, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
or 25, give or take. And then I saw it, and it was in a perfect setting, and it was a perfect night, and it just was framed perfectly. If I were watching this at home on WTBS, I don't think it would have that same value.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So with that being said, I'm going to have to push American Beauty.
Oh my
Woo,
God.
American Beauty.
That is tragic, boys. That is tragic.
Well, welcome to Wolf of Wall Street. Next matchup, I won't tell you this. None of these are easy. This one's really hard for me. This is The Sixth Sense versus Rain Man.
Sixth Sense, wasn't that a
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, but wasn't that a Shyamalan movie?
Shamalama-ding-dong. What?
M. Night Shyamalan.
Shabba-ding-dong.
Oh my God.
Shish kebab.
Chicago.
Chicago.
It may be.
Somebody help me.
I don't know about the directors on this. I did show prep. I didn't do it to that level.
Well, I don't think it matters. I think Dustin Hoffman's performance in Rain Man carries it.
My God. And I love The Sixth Sense. I think what I remember about this, number one, you don't watch this twice. Maybe twice, not 3 times.
Yeah, that's all.
Because once you know the hook,
Yeah.
it's over.
Right.
What I loved about it was arguably one of the scariest movies I've ever watched that was PG. It was all on suspense. It had nothing to do with horror.
We were talking about The Sixth Sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the one scene that got me, and it still gets me, is when the little kid is peeing, got up in the middle of the night and went to pee, and he's standing with his back to an open door going into the hallway, and a spirit, a dead person, walks behind him, and he gets a cold chill.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of cold chills in the middle of the night when I'm standing up there. Actually, I'm a squatter. So I would have saw. I'm a squatter.
He would have seen it go by.
I'm a squatter at home because I'm the only one cleaning these fucking bathrooms. So if I miss at night, I'm cleaning it up in the morning. So I'm squatting my ass in the middle of the night. And you would admit it too if you fuckers lived alone. You don't, so you don't squat. But
That's a fair point.
That scene I thought was, and the whole movie, really well done. However, The Rain Man, that is an amazing movie, and it was a true story, a loose adaptation. I met the guy that they patterned this movie off of. He worked at a library in Huntington, West Virginia, and he was their Dewey Decimal System.
Oh wow.
Really?
The way he can memorize, they would say Raymond. It wasn't his real name, but they'd say Raymond. They checked out Moby Dick, so the next person to come in, he would say that he would make the adjustment. The book you're looking for is 24th from the end on the 45th row in the, and he was,
Wow.
but it took him over 5 years to learn how to leave his house, get on the bus, and go to the library. That's the definition of a savant.
Yeah.
Is they're hyper intelligent in certain areas, but very lacking in others.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing. And don't forget Tom Cruise in that.
Right.
I mean, we talk about Dustin Hoffman, which was amazing, but Tom Cruise did a pretty damn good job in that movie too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
And he doesn't get enough notoriety.
Not for that flick.
Well, honestly, for his acting ability, you think about
He's
from where
been in
he started.
a lot of big movies.
Yeah,
He has.
A lot.
and he's never been bad. Now he does normally play about the same type of character, but he's never been bad in any movie. We've already talked about him in A Few Good Men.
Days of Thunder.
Well, not a good movie, but he wasn't
was
bad
good
in
in
it.
I thought it was pretty pissy.
But you're a race car.
I'm a NASCAR guy.
You're a
so
NASCAR guy.
I is.
So are we
Rubbing
moving
his
Rain?
racing.
It is.
Are we moving Rain Man forward?
I don't know how we cannot.
All right. So we got Rain Man moving forward. The next matchup,
Oh, this one's tough.
Saving Private Ryan and the Dead Poet Society. Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks.
Yep.
The Dead Poet Society, Robin Williams.
Man.
Lead in, boys.
Oh Lord. I absolutely love both of these films. For entirely different reasons. When when this movie hit and some of those guys who were actually storming Normandy had to leave the movie because those scenes were too intense. That tells you something about Spielberg and the research that he and Hanks and the rest of the crew did to make that film happen. It is just amazingly well done. That said, Dead Poet Society sent me back to high school. You know,
Your high school looked like that?
no.
Because mine didn't.
No,
we didn't have fucking air conditioning.
No, we had the big wall of windows that you just opened.
That would crush a finger.
Yes.
I was in an AP English course,
Of course he was, because he's smart that way.
and
I was in remedial reading in the back trailer of the high school where they put the, us people.
I was in the Learn Addition class.
and
The mobile lab is what they called it. Because it had wheels.
Well, they didn't want to put you in with the general population.
I don't play well with others.
No.
Miss Sue Ann Allen had the same impact on a bunch of us that that Robin Williams' character, and it's been so long since I've seen it, but
And it's worth watching again.
it is. It does not get old.
No. But that's not one of those you see on TBS and AMC and
No,
stuff, because
it's not.
evidently not been bought out. But I think it
Yeah.
bears watching again. I would agree.
It really did send me back to high school. Made me drag out a lot of old books and Tennyson
Yeah.
and some just Faulkner and yeah.
And so, which one are you going with?
Oh Lord.
That's the million-dollar question right there.
I'm pretty sure I don't want to make this jump again because I put a lot of thought into this at the house. I mean, it took me all of, 10, 15
Now,
seconds.
I want to say something here. I'm the one that gets teased because I have show notes. And Rude is referring to his phone.
Yes, because I'm a geek and I live on
No,
my
that being
phone.
said, this is the most he's ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's taking big steps here tonight. We're all proud of Root right now.
So
He's not sweating.
No.
He's done show notes.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, my God.
I didn't even come dressed.
all
I'm like you
together.
fuckers.
Most of the time, he sweated through his shirt by now. But then again, Alex isn't here. So,
See, there you go. Come back home, baby. Come back home. Dead Poet Society moves forward.
all right.
It was tough. It was close, but I got to go. Got to go with my youth on that one.
You want to go? You want me to?
Go ahead.
To me, this one isn't close. I don't have the same appreciation for war movies that Root does. Although I appreciate the impact, I appreciate the cinematic, I appreciate the research, I appreciate the acting. Not saying any of that, but for me, anytime we're talking about a war movie, I'm going to check out. I don't enjoy watching that. I don't watch movies for that purpose. If I'm going to watch movies about a war, I want to watch movies about I want to watch a documentary.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what.
But I don't want to have my heart tugged by the drama. I want to have my heart tugged by the facts.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're talking about, what was the one that Ben Affleck did? Pearl Harbor.
Oh my God!
All right.
What a
All right. Now,
piece of
I
crap.
agree. And I watched that, and I'm like, this is the only time in recent history that we've had a bombing, with the exception of 9/11. That's the only time that ever happened. We don't need a love story out of this.
Right.
The facts alone will bear your heart.
Right.
So I don't need that. So it just, I love to read history. I don't need it to be dramatized. So, but that being said, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think Robin Williams is one of the best actors in my lifetime.
Amen.
I'm not talking about comedians.
Yeah,
He
right.
was a fantastic comedian.
Right.
I think he's one of the best fucking actors I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He can hold me in his hand the whole movie
Really?
and pretty much have me do anything he wants me to do. I can
you're
cry.
going there.
I can laugh.
Yep.
I can get mad. And that's that was one of the best things he did. This and Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Both of these are amazingly well performed.
Yes.
And the way that when they stood up on those
On those
desks,
chairs. Captain, my captain.
oh my God.
Yeah.
That is a cinematic feat that had nothing to do with special effects.
Right.
Had everything to do with just the story and the way it was portrayed. I've got to go Dead Poet Society. It's not even close.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah. Dead Poet Society. Yes.
All right. So Dead Poet Society, moving on. And for all of the depth that we talked about with that matchup, our next matchup, The Avengers versus The Shining. By the way, if I were going to make a movie, I would never start it with the. Because I know I at times
buried
will
in the
search.
T's.
I will search for movies on my Fire Stick, and I type in the, and it's just a barrage of all these movies. That's when we named this podcast. That's one of the things that Root said to me. Can't use the word the.
No.
And luckily we didn't.
Right.
Because we used it started with the letter U, which there's not that many of them out there. So it was anyway, The Avengers versus The Shining. Jump on it.
Lloyd, you got to speak here, son.
Yeah, I know.
It's called a podcast. We do that.
I'm just enjoying the show. Don't mind me.
No, you
is
can
it-
do
don't
that at
mind me.
home.
Why
Don't
is it
mind me.
whenever we find somebody for that seat, they just think that they got front row seats in the NCAA tournament?
We should charge them admission.
I'm sitting here watching a tennis match. I'm just watching it go back and forth. I'm just
We
not.
don't grunt
I'm
that
not a
much.
big fan of the superhero movies. Really.
The what? The what movies?
Superhero movies.
Okay, thank you for enunciating.
Yeah.
Said James.
Yeah, I know.
The Shining, Jack Nicholson, classic, scary, just great. I mean,
Shelley Duvall.
Yes,
Again,
amazing.
When we were talking about ladies that were hot in the 80s and how they would be portrayed now. If you look at Shelley Duvall now, and I ain't lying, I probably made a couple knuckle children to Shelley Duvall back in the 80s. But my God, you look at her now and she looks like a meth head. I mean, I'm talking about the way she looked back then, not how she looks now, not how she's
Now,
aged.
right then. Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about then. She looks like a damn meth head.
Yeah.
She was olive oil with
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Our definition of beauty has just changed so much.
It has.
But I'm just not a big Avengers fan. So, I mean, The Shining is just, to me, is just scary and classic. And here's Johnny.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how the Avengers makes it out of here. Now I'm a superhero movie guy. Huge fan of Robert Downey. Huge fan of Chris, whatever the fuck his name is, Captain America, dude. Yeah,
Evans.
that guy. Love all those characters. I think it's a fun movie, but nothing about the Avengers will scare the snot out of me like those two twins at the end of that hall.
Red Rum.
in
Red
The
Rum.
Shining. And
And that fucking maze
Yeah.
outside of that hotel. I take my kids all the time to corn mazes during October.
you're just trying to lose them.
No, it's like I see them damn mazes and I'm like, Red Rum.
Right.
Red Rum. You know,
You about half expect to round one and see Jack sitting there all
yeah,
frozen.
and then you got the hotel. And I won't know about y'all, but anytime I've been to hotels, I go to hotels. Seems like anytime I go to hotels, I'm coming in very late at night
Right.
because James has been bad.
He's been stumbling.
And I come down that hallway to a hotel, and I immediately fall back into that hallway of The Shining.
Yeah.
And I'm 51 years old, and I am still having that pop into my mind.
Yep. You let a thunderstorm roll through and them lights flicker?
Oh,
Oh, I'm out the door, man.
no, I'll shit myself. Full release. Them bitches come after me. They gonna get dirty.
Change of underwear.
But now, I'm going to agree with you on The Shining. I think the Avengers should have some note here in that was the first in a extremely long, very successful, very lucrative series.
And probably continuing.
Absolutely. And you know what? I sign up for every one of them.
Yeah.
I think they're amazingly entertaining, action-filled, and they have that little hint of comedy that I truly, truly enjoy.
Yep.
Because action-adventure movies are a dime a dozen. But when you have that little quip between Iron Man and Thor,
Right.
or Thor and the Hulk just doesn't like Thor,
or Loki.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Hulk.
and it's also one of those movies that I can watch with you three or you two. There's only two of you there,
Yes,
including me.
only two.
I'm counting myself. I'm counting myself in third person, like Root speaks to
Like Ray
himself.
does. Root's opinion is.
But I can watch it with you two, and I can watch it with my kids.
Right.
And there's not many movies that I would enjoy equally with either group.
Yeah. You
So
probably don't want to expose us to your kids. That would probably end poorly.
There's no exposing to the children. Root. So yeah, I think The Shining goes through, but
Yeah.
I think The Avengers needs a little bit of props there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good flick, but man, what was that other one we stumbled around with up there? Which one was it? The one that just got clubbed. Oh yeah, clubbed. Fight Club and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But no, actually, we can't compare those two.
No, they're all three totally different movies.
And Harry Potter, but when you're going through the turnstile to get into the theater, it should have a line here that says you cannot be taller than this to get in there.
But there's still people who live in the basements that enjoy that movie because
Like us three.
Well,
in
we don't live
the-
here. I just visit. I come down here to do laundry and to talk to you guys. All right, so moving on.
I feel like those movies just hit a last-second shot to win their conference tournament.
Oh, and then he's trying to make another
then-
reference.
And then we got to include this.
It's just like when you kill cows for abortions. So
now.
the next two, and this is tough, guys. This is Grease versus Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And to be very clear, this is not Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. This is Willy Wonka. This is the one with the real fucking Oompa Loompas.
Right.
This ain't the one with that one Oompa Loompa that they just copy the whole damn movie. This is not the Johnny Depp one.
Right.
This is the Gene Wilder with the bad hair.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got against Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John and that
whole
myriad
gang.
of that, and plus one of the most iconic soundtracks ever.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
gentlemen, have at it.
Lloyd?
Should we just say Lloyd's going to go first from now on?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Until we say otherwise,
I'll
go.
just go first. The thing about Willy Wonka is that, after the movie came out, during the production of that movie, all the weird things that was happening on the set that like, he was making things just really weird for all the actors that were in that, and we're actually scaring them to death.
What Gene Wilder was?
Yes, Gene Wilder.
I
was
did not
just-
know that.
Yes,
Yeah,
he was just messing with them.
I
the
knew
whole
that,
time.
but that's also kind of Gene Wilder.
Well, he was I guess a character actor, where
Yeah.
almost like they talked about with Dustin Hoffman during Rain Man. He literally had autism while he was filming that movie. He
Right.
acted just like he
and
had autism.
Daniel Day-Lewis does that too.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
And,
those characters in Lincoln.
Lincoln and 5 Points, was that Gangs of New York? That's
Okay.
what it was.
Days of New York, yeah.
So
But there was just a lot of things that came out saying that he was actually had the kids in that movie actually scared because he was just playing mind games with them the whole time.
Sounds like Gene
that makes
Wilder.
it even cooler.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
I have mad respect for Wilder. Anybody that has that hair that can be a movie star. Because, I mean, that's Donald Trump hair.
No, it's worse than Donald Trump here.
Because he didn't have as good a stylist. I mean,
Well, thank God,
no,
because
but I
He
mean,
could afford as good a stylist.
but you
right?
look back in Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein and any movie he was in, that hair was never good.
no,
And when he passed away, God rest his soul, it was even worse.
yeah, the thing that will always endear me to Gene Wilder is his marriage and sticking with Gilda.
Yes.
right
The fact
to
that he
end.
quit Hollywood
Yeah.
to be with Gilda.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
But now on the other side of this, we have Grease. We interrupt Lloyd. Maybe that's why we should let him go first.
Yeah.
Because it gives us an opportunity to think about how we're going to interrupt him.
Well, you're doing a fine job. So.
That's why we're here.
I have to say I don't know if I've ever watched Grease. I don't know if I've
get
ever
the
watched
fuck out of here.
it. I don't think I've ever watched it.
All right, this week, fucker, watch Grease.
Okay.
The hand jive. You're the one I want. Summer
Grease
loving.
lightning. Grease lightning.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm familiar with the movie and the music
Evidently, you're not.
and the music from the movie, but
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to apologize.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we had somebody here that had a fucking opinion on
I thought
something.
there were experts here tonight.
I thought Root was going to be the one that wasn't going to see the iconic movies, and lo and behold, here comes Lloyd with his hair, saying he hadn't seen fucking Grace.
I don't know. Shit. I don't know how. I am.
All right.
Yes. Words fail me.
You have made Root stutter even more.
Yeah, on purpose this time. Wow.
All right, we'll just go to Root. Evidently, that was not the person we should have started with, Lloyd.
Well, he's still new. He's
is.
still
Freaking-
learning the
he is.
ropes.
Freaking Lloyd.
Yeah. The 1 week he doesn't bring bourbon, he gets a new haircut.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just for the weird factor alone, I gotta go with Willy Wonka. I don't think this is as close as some of the other ones, the Shawshank and Ocean's 11 and
But because it's the middle of the pack. This is not a 1 versus 16.
yeah, but Grease again, it was fun, had some cool tunes in it. And, Olivia Newton-John, I mean, come on, at the time,
Knuckle Children.
oh, she was
At the time, hell, look at her. She's 60. I
Yeah.
was, yes.
Yes.
yeah,
At
she-
60, it's a yes.
Yeah, she has not aged a bit, but it's just a fun flick. It
Your vote?
accused me of going too deep into these things. I think Willy Wonka had an interesting,
Oh, it's dark.
yeah, but an interesting point to be made.
Well,
too.
absolutely. I mean, it was a statement on society,
Yes.
and if you look back on it, chewing gum, overeating,
Yep.
being a narcissist,
Yep.
and I can't remember the other one was Charlie, right? I mean, watching too much TV. Mm-hmm. That was the plight of the children during that time,
Right.
and now look what we're dealing with now.
The
yeah,
vices.
not much has changed.
Now, I
right?
would love to see that remade.
in a serious way, Johnny Depp.
No, not Johnny Depp. No, Johnny Depp, his ship sailed. Trust me, in many different ways. But find someone that can go in there and do it now with the plight that the children have today.
Yeah,
You know, I
you know,
think. I think
DiCaprio might make a decent Willy
you're-
Wonka.
Yeah,
damn, that's a good point.
that's
That
a
is
good
a
point.
really good point.
That's a good point.
But it would be. I think it was a social statement.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying,
Yes.
and I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I really, the only hesitation I have here, and I've already moved them forward, but the only hesitation I have here is the communal bed that the grandparents had. You have 4 invalid grandparents that share a bed. So is that? But was that like a reference to swinging? I mean, because
No, I don't
there was
think
some
so.
there was some canoodling in there because I know old people. Old people got no fucks to give, right?
Apparently, they got
yeah.
plenty.
And there's pretty good chance that they pivoted in that bed,
you know,
and that
yeah.
was like a 1-room
Like,
house.
Can we just move on?
I'm
here?
just saying.
we don't need to.
It's
plant
turned
that
into an
image.
episode of 3 Bourbons In. It's like, is this
Yeah.
cool or fucked up?
It's
Yeah,
both.
that's yeah.
It's
yeah,
both. So moving Willy Wonka forward, and the next matchup, Goodwill Hunting versus Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller.
Bueller.
Lloyd.
Ferris Bueller falls into one of these categories of back in the day. It was a lot of fun. Good movie, funny. I mean, you could watch it again today. I don't know how well it holds up. Versus Good Will Hunting, which is the start of Affleck. And it, again, had Robin Williams in it. He was-
Matt Damon.
Matt
How about we
Damon.
mention him?
Yeah, well, Matt Damon, his first movie, he wrote the script.
He and Ben evidently did. Yeah.
But so I thought that movie was amazing. I loved it.
So your vote is
Good Will Hunting.
okay.
Yeah, easily. And I don't quite remember Ferris Bueller. I mean, that was a long time ago. And when I saw
Well, you
it,
remember 1862, fucker. You can remember Ferris Bueller.
yeah, but you know, Floyd made the point of how well it would stand up today. 51 years old. If I'm daddy that owns that Porsche, and I walk in and I see that Porsche up on the blocks and them gunning it in reverse, I'm digging 3 holes.
Yep.
I'm digging 3 holes.
I don't know who that girl was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
She was in everything back
But
then.
my God, she was adorable.
She was in
Yes.
more
Oh,
games
yes.
with Ferris or with that kid too.
Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick. Yeah.
Or his name really wasn't Ferris, Rude. That was just a role he played.
You know, and I believe it's that girl. What? I can't remember. Are you looking her? No, you're not looking her.
No, I'm actually doing the show stuff.
She for a change, right? I think those two were a couple, and they were driving around in England, got involved in a car wreck.
No, that was Sarah Jessica Parker. He was with Sarah
Okay,
Jessica Parker.
okay, all right.
It's not even
Different
close.
chick, different
She's a
chick.
blonde. That girl's a brunette. That girl's hot. Sarah Jessica Parker looks like a fucking horse's ass. So, anyway, moving forward. This is a number 2 seed. And I don't know how I did this. I may have been drinking this time. But this may be one of the most iconic matchups that we've had thus far. We have Goodfellas versus The Exorcist.
And Goodfellas has to be one of, well, the best gangster movie, true gangster movie of our generation. Now, the Godfather series came out when we were little. Goodfellas came out when we knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're right.
They did so well with that. Joe Pesci, that guy's a gangster, scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got De Niro in that. Mm-hmm. You've got Ray Liotta in that. And Lloyd?
Yeah.
Lloyd?
Yeah, but
Lloyd. Poke him.
Yeah, but you know,
Smack his hair.
The
I'm
Exorcist,
afraid it will hurt my hand.
The Exorcist is just one of those horror movies that
Horror?
horror.
The horror would like a seat.
The horror would like a seat. Horror movies that it has enough religious connotation that it's still kind of scary, and it's scary today. I mean, it's Linda Blair. It's just creepy because you get to thinking of that in a religious way, and it's like, maybe this is some truth to some of this stuff. I mean, they always talked about demon possession in the Bible, so maybe there's some truth to it. And you didn't know, it's based on a true story, right? I mean, I think it holds up as a very scary movie. So
I was trying to play the Exorcist theme song.
It missed.
But I know
What
because
did you end up with?
it's fucking YouTube, and they got to play the 30-minute
Car dealership.
All right. So this is probably the toughest matchup I've had so far for me, because I watch Goodfellas in its entirety every fucking time it's on. I think it's the best gangster movie ever made. I think it's better than The Godfather because The Godfather was iconic. I get it, but Goodfellas was fucking entertaining.
Yeah, that's true.
And awesome and weird, and it was all of it, right? Mm-hmm. And you had Pesci and De Niro and Liotta.
Ray Liotta.
My God. But The Exorcist, the story I have on this is I think I was 12. Not when it came out, but when it was released to
VHS.
network TV. This is before VHS and stuff. This was network TV.
Okay.
So I may have been maybe 9 or 10. And I remember my mom and dad sending me to my room when this came on. But I snuck out and I sat behind the couch and watched it. And this was the cut version. This was not the one that we saw, that was shown at the movie theaters and such. And Linda Blair's bed looked just like mine. I had a 4-upholster bed. And I have never in my life been more scared than I was at that night. And I don't know how many nights it took me to get to sleep. And then they re-released it, because I want to say that was in 78.
That sounds about right.
Give or take. They re-released it on the 20th anniversary in 98. And I was married at the time, but I didn't want my wife at that time to see my reaction to this movie. So I asked a girl that I knew that was just a friend of the family. I'm like, we went to the Kentucky, down in Lexington, Classic Theater. And they were re-releasing it with extra footage.
Oh, wow.
Now, I had seen it uncut before. By the way, let me preface this. I talked about when I was a preacher. I was 18 years old preaching in a church in Ohio, and a buddy of mine came up and was staying with me that weekend while I was preaching. And it was like 11 o'clock, and The Exorcist came on, and it was on HBO, and it was uncut. Mm-hmm. And we were both the same age. We looked at you, you want to watch it? I'm like, I can if you want to. I'll be fine with it if you are. And we sat there and watched it. And we were both kind of sleeping in the same room. He was on the couch and I was on the bed. And there was a sheer curtain that separated the bed and the couch. And I was laying in the bed. And my eyes were just beaded on him because I knew he was going to fuck with me at some point. And I was just watching for any movement from that couch because, sheer curtain, it was a dim light and all that sort of stuff. And probably about 30 minutes in, I heard him go, James. I'm like, yeah. you're not going to mess with me, are you? I'm like, no, I won't mess with you if you don't mess with me. So that was when I was like 19 years old. Then fast forward to 1998 when it got re-released. And I went with this girl, and I ain't kidding. As soon as I heard that song, I mean, my asshole puckered up, my Audington Annie. I mean, I was just, and then they had the extra footage was Linda Blair walking down the steps on her hands backwards. I will tell you what, I screamed like a baby girl. In any movie that can have that residual fear, and if I watched it today, I would turn into that 9-year-old boy sitting behind the couch at my mom and dad's house. Yeah. When it can do that, I think that has got to move forward. As much as I love Goodfellas, that has got to move forward.
I think I had The Exorcist going forward. Yeah, I do, and it is one of my all-time horror flicks. And I love me some horror flicks. I love me some good weird horror flicks.
We know. But if you we were talking about how beauty transfers over time. If you want to watch that movie and realize not a one of them damn people are hot now, not a one. Like the sex symbol, the doctor in that was smoking with a horseshoe hairline. It was like bone skinny. And I mean, she was treating him like he was a Greek god. Yeah. You know, so, all right. So we're moving up to the northeast side of our bracket. And the very first, the number one seed in this bracket is Star Wars, the original movie. And the number 16 seed is Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven. Lloyd.
Most movies are not going to fare well against Star Wars, the original. I mean, what can you say about how big that movie was in the 70s? I know that was a movie that we went and saw at a drive-in theater. It was the only movie my dad ever took us to. And we watched in the back of a station wagon, turned around backwards watching Star Wars on the big screen.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it was one of those $5 a carload type
right.
deals.
Yeah.
And,
Did he put you in the trunk?
Well, no,
made you lay down flat.
But
made you lay down flat, put a blanket over you. Yeah. I've been there, fucker. My mom and dad had an LTD station wagon. Don't you talk to me about station wagon.
You said station wagon. You said trunk. There's no trunk in a station wagon.
But there is a huge ass area in the back that you put a blanket over.
But
if you lay still,
trunk.
they think you're cargo. Yeah. I have been there.
That's it. If they make you pay by the head, you know, it's like, we're sneaking some people in. Don't tell anybody. But, there's not going to be too many movies on this list that's going to top Star Wars. So, I mean, Unforgiven or whatever movie you put it against, it's going to have a hard time beating Star Wars. So
Unforgiven all day.
Really?
Yeah. I saw Star Wars in the theater 7-8 times when it came out.
Did you have the Star Wars characters?
I did.
The figurines?
I did.
I did too. I had Chewbacca was my favorite. I would do like big time wrestling. Yeah. You know, playing with the figurines. You know, Stormtrooper was always the guy rushing in from the back.
Oh, yeah,
I can remember coming home after that and drawing TIE fighters.
Yeah. I did the...
I had the Land Cruiser. I like the Land Cruiser.
Yeah.
Toyota makes a fine Land Cruiser.
Lightsaber
that hand
fighting gesture you're doing, don't do it again.
This one?
Do not do that again. Thank God you podcaster cannot see this because...
But Unforgiven, for me, it tops it. It. At a time when Westerns had gone beyond the camp, you know, hell, Unforgiven made 310 to Yuma possible.
Beyond the camp, like they missed their exit.
That's good. That's good.
You have missed your exit. You will need to do a U-turn in 400, 300, 200. You've missed it again.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with Clint Eastwood's performance in it, and it made serious Western movies possible again.
It did signal a resurgence of Clint Eastwood's
Cowboy
career.
Self.
I mean, he was kind of, he did the old westerns for a while.
That he actually directed and acted in.
It was, it was.
So you're saying Star Wars, you're saying Unforgiven.
Absolutely.
And I am the determining factor.
God help us all. Words.
Yeah, I've got this. I'm just trying to make it so that I don't hurt somebody's feelings.
Because, we're all about each other's
I know
feelings.
I know you all are very sensitive. Look at his hair. He's seeking approval.
I think so. Probably that woman he sat on him.
I don't want to smell his hair.
No.
Here, sniff.
I can catch a whiff every now and then. It's not pleasant.
Yeah. When did they put corn in moose?
Woman tried to sell me a Snickers bar.
All right, Star Wars, extremely iconic. I mean, it's still going on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from the late 70s to now, it's still going on. George Lucas done an amazing job. Characters are still vibrant in our minds, and in my children's minds. So you're talking about a span of 5 generations or 5 decades that it's still relevant. Han Solo, you still see Harrison Ford. You still see all of the James Earl Jones voice with Darth Vader. Unforgiven, to me, I'm a huge Westerns fan. It's not even the best Western I've ever seen. I mean, if you're talking about a genre, I would not watch this over Tombstone, although it's much more well done than Tombstone was in the cinematography and in the writing and all that. But when Clint Eastwood acts, Good, the Bad, the Ugly, 3 Mules for Sister Sarah, all of that shit, right? The fucker has no depth in his monologue. It is just straight line dialogue. Yes, the depth comes from the characters around him, but he has no depth. It's that guttural growl that the way he speaks, and then everything. Outlaw Josie Wells, one of my all-time favorite movies. It was awesome because of the characters around him. The only thing I remember him doing is spitting on the fucking dog's head.
Well, and anything else that moved, pretty much.
The scorpion, whatever, So I'm going to have to go Star Wars. I mean, I love Clint Eastwood, but I don't think he's not even the best Western actor that I can recall.
Without Unforgiven, you don't have Tombstone.
All right. I'm not saying it's not a bridge movie. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if I'm going to watch a movie, I don't enjoy that as much as I do Star Wars. I'm not talking about the all right, again, Wolf of Wall Street, fucker, take it.
My point.
None of those were words.
After Star Wars, what was the next space opera?
Empire Strikes Back.
But it's part of the Star Wars franchise.
And then Star Trek.
Star Trek predates Star Wars.
I'm not a sci-fi guy, so I mean, I'm sure people talk to you about aliens or whatever. I don't know that. That's not my genre. But here's my thing: is Westerns are my genre, and it's not even the best one.
It's not. But without Unforgiven in our lifetime,
and
nothing else comes after.
I don't really even care for 3:10 to Yuma. I think Django Unchained is 10 times better than that.
I thought 3:10 to Yuma was fantastic.
Russell Crowe again.
But yeah, this one fucks my bracket pretty good.
Oh, you're welcome. So the next matchup is 7 versus Top Gun. Shall I go first, boys? Because I'm primed.
Yes, go ahead.
7 has Morgan Freeman, has Brad Pitt, has a young Charlize Theron,
Charlize,
and Kevin Spacey. Arguably one of the best psychological thrillers in our lifetime. And it was gory, and it was nasty, and there was a bit of a love story in there. And I mean, it was a really interwoven plot, and it was also very well filmed. I mean, talking about the 7 deadly sins. I actually had somebody one time in my office going, "I'm sure you watched that, didn't you?" I'm like, "Why would you assume I watched that?" Well, it's about the Bible. No dipshit. Because it says sin doesn't mean it was in the Bible. But I thought it had a bit of a societal footprint on that, right? Then you got Top Gun. You got Tom Cruise. You got Noah Wyle. You got who was the guy that was Goose?
Val Kilmer.
You got Val Kilmer. You got the chick that had the nose job and never was seen again. Phil the Need Kenny Loggins. You got Jesus singing the
Kenny Loggins again. Kenny Loggins.
So I mean, I think this is a tough matchup. Which one's more iconic? Absolutely, Top Gun is.
Top Gun.
And in my world, in my day, what I think is the most awesome movie is 7. because I think it's a horror movie that does not resort into cut and stab, cutting people's heads off and all that shit that the Halloweens and shit falls into. It's a Sixth Sense, but nastier. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I thought, again, Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey, and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Who could afford that role? Well, Kevin Spacey's going pretty cheap right now. So my vote is for 7. Next.
Oh Lord, I'm.
None of those words.
I know.
Lloyd drifted off, and Root is just saying syllables.
Help me out, Lloyd. Help me out.
I'm trying to think which one of these movies
You want.
holds up
We
over
get
time.
that.
Yeah, holds up over time.
Neither. I think 7 holds up better than Top Gun because Top Gun's all playing volleyball and tight khaki shorts and Ray-Bans and all that shit.
It's
very period based.
in Top Gun's heyday, in Tom Cruise's heyday, when he does these action kind of shows, they're all the same. Cruise is the flyboy. He's the hot shot. He's trying to do something,
But he's doing that in the Mission Impossible movies now.
But that's exactly what I'm saying.
He plays the same role in everything he's ever done.
Right. This started it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I had originally picked Top Gun here, but I think I'm going to have to change that and go to 7.
Okay.
Changing.
Well, and I think as being dudes our age, we will never watch Top Gun again.
No.
But if 7 comes on, we're on it.
Yeah.
So I think
that's why I would vote 7 as well. Yeah.
So 7 is moving on. And I'll tell you what, guys, anyone listening to this podcast, just hang on to the second round because it's going to get even more interesting come there.
Yeah, not in the Northeast bracket for me.
All right, so Lloyd brought this up in our pre-show.
Yeah.
He said this is the battle of the Gen A's.
Gen A.
So we have Forrest Gump, which is a very low seed for Forrest Gump. And let me tell you how I seeded these. Is I went on ranker.com and they ranked the 100 top movies of all time. And Forrest Gump was ranked this low.
Really?
Yeah. And that's a karma-based website where the people vote for the shows. So we have Forrest Gump versus The Princess Bride. Both Gen A's.
Both Gen A's. I just love Forrest Gump. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Something about the sort of semi tie into history, things in history, and then just the silliness of the movie too, and then the seriousness of the movie as well. It's just I just think it's a great movie.
I think that's the first time we saw. Is it CGI?
Yeah.
The really the hyper exposed.
And done well.
It was really done well. I mean the ping pong.
Yeah.
By itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they stuck him into every historical moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say, the first time I watched this, another long movie. And I think you may have been with me, Lloyd, the first time I saw
Really?
this, with a young lady that we're mutually friends with.
Okay.
And we were sitting there, and I have had to pee for like from the iron 45-minute mark, I had no idea how long it was.
Right.
So I'm like, I'll just hold it. It's pretty good. I'll just hold it. And then after 3 hours, I'm like, fuck! I'm looking for a cup. I'm like, turn your head, boys. Ma'am. But I would agree. Forrest Gump's a beautiful movie. Anything else, Lloyd?
Even
I look over there, and it's the top of the Mohawk.
and Forrest Gump, believe it or not, the soundtrack is very good, and
Agreed.
all the songs on the soundtrack. When I hear those songs now, they all take me back to Forrest Gump. They take me
Some
back to the
Creedence
movie.
Clearwater Revival when they know.
Like
Fortune
during the Vietnam scenes, some
One day it started raining. It didn't stop for 3 months.
And then when he's running for Alabama, I started
yeah,
running, and I didn't stop. And Sally
got-
Field was his mother.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
in that
again,
movie-
today, yes.
yes.
Really?
Sally Field today, yes.
I thought she passed.
I don't. Oh, still.
When he goes running onto the football field and Barry Bryant sees him and he stands up and the because the other coaches just stand up with him, and he's like, "Who in the hell is that?"
But now let's not diminish the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
You're right.
All right, you have Peter Falk, Malcolm in the Middle dude, whatever his name was.
I can't
Well,
even
the
remember
one-
any
the
of those
little kid,
actors.
little kid.
He wasn't Malcolm in the Middle, was he?
Yes.
He was Wonder Years kid.
Same thing. Two shows I never fucking watched is what that is. But then you have Andre the Giant.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have Manny Patinkin.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Billy Crystal. I mean, there's a whole lot. They're talking about an ensemble cast. And then there are a lot of quotable moments in that.
You
right?
killed my father. Prepare to die.
Yeah. And so I'm only slightly dead, Andre
Yeah,
the Giant.
yeah.
I think this is a go away. This is a runaway game here. Sadly, I think the Princess Bride has to go away.
Oh, I advanced it because I'm just over Forrest Gump.
It's very much commercialized.
Yeah,
it is now.
But
it's
what
been
Tom Hanks
overdone.
movie isn't?
Well,
And I think that's not his fault or the movie's fault. I think it's what the media does to his movies.
well, I remember when it came out, and of course I don't see movies in the theater, but I had to.
They don't let him in theaters.
No, they don't for a variety of reasons.
It was a public exposure,
It-
decent exposure
Yeah,
moment.
it was probably something to
His
that effect.
picture's on the wall.
But you know, I'm
And it's not of his face, sadly.
everybody's got to be jealous.
Looks like
even-
a baby's arm holding an apple.
Come on. Even at the time the movie came out, you couldn't get away from it.
Yeah, I mean,
And you know, sure, it's a good flick, but come on, people.
well, it's one of those few things that it lived up to its hype. And when you see the hype on these movies, when the few that live up to it, you're surrounded by it.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, I mean, you're just engulfed by it.
Yeah.
The ones that don't live up to it, they just go away all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Forrest Gump, even though, yes, I don't know that I would watch it again because, honestly, my thought on this movie is the way that Jenny treated him. She was a Class A bitch.
She was. Yes.
And he was a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was horrible. And I hated to see him treated that way.
Yes. Yeah. That part. of it
Because
was
he
not
never did anything to anyone ever. And she victimized everyone around her whole fucking life.
Yep.
And that made me angry.
just treated him like a doormat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Forrest Gump moves on.
Yep.
And the next one is not even close to Forrest Gump.
No.
This is Jaws versus Die Hard, the first movie.
The Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie.
You have A Christmas Story. You have A Miracle on 34th Street. And Bruce Willis barefooted running through glass.
Yes.
And apparently not hurting himself.
No. I can't run across gravel. But that some bitch from New York City is barefooted running across glass. Doesn't have a problem with it.
Nope.
So,
I had Die Hard running away with it. I was never impressed with the Jaws movie.
I would agree 110% about that because I think Lloyd and I have discussed this these many years is that get out of the fucking water.
Yeah, just get out of the water.
Because I'm from Kentucky.
Right.
Jaws wasn't scary to me. Unless that some bitch coming down the Kentucky River, Elkhorn Creek, I'm good.
Brother, I could see Dick's Dam from my house for over a decade. You want to see some big ass fish?
Catfish.
Go fishing down there at that dam.
And carp.
And carp.
Yeah.
And catfish.
But now, granted, they're not, well, catfish are meat eaters.
uh-huh. Small dogs have been eaten by
Yeah.
these things.
But Jaws, although I appreciate what it did in that era and the notoriety it had, this isn't close, guys.
No.
I mean, and Bruce Willis went from moonlighting
Right.
with Sybil Shepherd to being an action adventure star.
Right.
Star.
And honestly, a very
Still,
good actor.
and still is.
Yeah, a very good actor.
Yeah.
Of course, the way you get away from Jaws is the same way you get away from Aquaman. You just get out of the water.
Literally take 3 steps up on the shore and go, fuck you.
Yeah.
They can't get to you.
now-
I wish you
now-
were a little close to the water.
Now, fellas, if you know, how do you get away from Aquaman? I'm not sure you can get up on the ground and run away from that fucker. Have you seen Jason Momoa in Frontier? He will hunt your ass down.
If you want to get up on him, that's between you and your maker. But I'm just saying, when it comes to that fish, that mammal, whatever it was in Jaws, I ain't scared of it. Because Because honestly, if I'm in the ocean, which I have been several times in my life, it could be a great white or it could be a piece of seaweed. If something touches my foot, my ass is out. I am running.
You talk
I'm
about
walking on. Fuck you, Kenny Loggins. I'm walking on water.
You're walking on water. That's right.
So I think it's safe to say that Die Hard is moving forward.
Of course it is.
And next one is we're going to watch Root lose his mind.
Okay.
Because these are one of them is a historical movie, and the other one is fact. We have Gladiator
Which one's which?
and Raiders of the Lost Ark, the original
Winner.
show, or Raiders of the Holy Grail. That's
it.
reference to the
Grail.
previous
That's it.
Three Bourbons In.
Yeah.
He loved that movie so much he couldn't remember the title.
Raiders of the Holy Grail for the win. It has to be
It was
the
Harrison
winner.
Ford with Monty Python.
Raiders of the Holy Grail.
So, Root, what's your thoughts? He
I am
had
at
two
a
bodily
loss.
functions and his arms were waving.
I am at a loss for words as to how Gladiator comes out of here. Gladiator dies in this context.
Definitely a lower seed in this.
I mean, I love both movies, but Raiders of the Lost Ark is an all-time fave of mine. You know, I'm like I talked about in Oceans when we talked about the Ocean's 11 matchup. Huge heist movie fan, and that's what this is. That's what Raiders is. That's what all of them are.
With a lot of special effects.
Yeah.
Do we give any weight to movies that they decided they had to make more in the series versus just a one-time thing?
A one hitter? Well, but I mean,
Because
it's a lot like when I have sex, Lloyd.
Like we need to hear this.
let's hope it's not.
Do you do it well the first time and hope that it works from now on? Or do you plan for sequels throughout the evening, hoping that you hit the mark at some point?
sometime-
It's like throwing 12 darts at a dartboard or throwing one to the bullseye.
Sometimes it's so good you just drop the mic.
And that's what I do. Because at my age, I don't really have a whole lot of chances in those extra darts.
Ricky.
I'm gonna go and agree with Root. I think Raiders goes. I'm not a huge Raiders fan, but I think Gladiator was fun. To me, Gladiator's Braveheart,
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
and I thought it was good, but it was what it was. And at the end of the movie, I'm like, I've seen it. I don't need to see it again.
Yep.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, it had comedy.
Right.
It had adventure. It had romance. It had all of those things that you want out of a 1980s flick.
And I mentioned I met my wife playing D&D.
You did? You did.
Yeah. I did mention
And
that.
then he took her to Raiders of the Lost Ark later.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Why are you showing
We
me a
probably
piece of
saw
paper?
that.
Dun, dun,
I
dun,
was holding up
dun,
a piece
dun,
of paper like that matters. I don't know what that means.
We as that game played out, that people we were playing with started calling me Indiana because the way I was portraying this character.
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
Nerd alert.
Nerd.
So
Absolutely.
I'm in the
damn
basement, and
proud
I
of
was
it.
the king of the basement that night. So moving on, we have this is a stretch, kids. This is Airplane versus The Omen.
You talk about
This is
polar
laughter
opposites.
and scaring the shit out of you.
again. I had The Omen going forward, but just really more because of the impact that movie had on the society. Airplane.
I thought it was
Nielsen?
funny.
Oh
that
my
was his,
God.
that was his first comedic role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After being a long-time
Serious
dramatic actor.
Yeah,
And-
and he just
And it wasn't.
Killed it.
It wasn't just Nielsen. Who was the guy that was in there that this is a bad time for me to quit smoking cigarettes?
Yes.
He
yeah,
was
I know
a long-time dramatic actor
Yes,
as
he
well.
was.
Yeah,
Oh, what was he in?
everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, on TV,
Yeah.
he was in everything.
So he was the stereotypical 60s, 70s actor.
Yes.
Yeah,
As was Nielsen.
Yes.
And then you've got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That when they pull him out of that damn seat, he just keeps coming. And the funniest thing to me was
The autopilot?
is when the autopilot, when that girl started giving head to the blow-up doll.
We've got to save him.
And he comes up with a big ass smile.
Yeah, and he's smoking a cigarette. when a blow-up doll smokes a cigarette, I mean,
yeah.
but going to The Omen. Oh. Now, I will tell you that there are 2 movies in my lifetime that have scared me. We've spoken about The Exorcist. The Omen is the second. Because I was, as we all were, we were raised in religion. And when you start quoting Scripture, and you're talking about the fulfillment of Scripture, of Revelation, and you see this little fucker named Damien show up, and that's a dark movie.
Yeah.
And to this day, I think if people watch that movie, it's not as popular as The Exorcist, but if people watch that movie, they will get wigged the fuck out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
To this day, that was a 70s movie, and they will still get wigged out.
Yeah. It is. It's not. It is a psychological thriller. It had a lot of horror overtones to it, undertones, I guess, over both.
I love when a horror is on or over. That's what I like.
But
I don't pay for it. I don't pay for it. No. What? Who are we kidding? We all pay for it. But anyway, please continue.
That's why I pushed it forward, because there were.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Lloyd
we just talked about that.
He just killed. Lloyd just killed a glass of Four Roses,
and I thought he was going to slap his ears off.
And
with
I
his tongue.
realized that's the first time he's ever done that.
Oh, it is?
Yes, and he owns it.
Yeah,
I mean, he does a great job with it.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, you have that haircut.
Yeah,
Let's not push it
still
too
need to
far.
talk about the haircut.
So, are we talking The Omens moving forward?
Absolutely. I hate to do it to Airplane. It's another one of those classic comedies.
I'm going to
that's
be
gonna
like
stand up
the
forever.
Supreme Court justice that just says, I'm going to be the dissenting vote just to get it out there. I'm going to go Airplane on this one.
Why?
It's
Because you haven't spoken the whole fucking time.
well, it's the first of
You drank some bourbon and you think you can cock of the walk.
It's the first of a series of this type of movie.
Which all of them were horrible after that.
No. Naked Gun movies.
No,
were
I was
all
talking about
good.
Airplane 1, 2, and
Yeah, but
35.
I mean that type of
The slapstick.
So
okay, all right, I get that.
And yeah, I do too. That Airplane slapstick was done right. It wasn't over the
And
top.
so was Naked Gun.
Yeah, exactly.
The first one.
It's all Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and the
But
man
then
knew
Naked
where
Gun-
to push it. And
The O.J. Simpson stuff gets a little creepy when you look back on it.
well,
It was funny at the
again,
time.
artist in the art.
It's like listening to Thriller right now. It just gets a little creepy right
Well,
now.
again, artist in the art. You know.
I often say from that movie, I said, "Not one person on the staff's going to rest until we get this done. Now let's go have some lunch."
All right, so
I can make a brooch. I can make a hat. I can make a pterodactyl.
the gay guy in Airplane.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my God! When he just zoomed in and zoomed out, it was
reaches down and unplugs the light with
Yes.
that grin.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
God. And then the dog that just attacks the pilot that comes and picks up.
Yes.
Oh, it was so good. All right, now this is a tough one coming up.
Yeah, it is.
Silence of the Lambs versus Castaway.
Yeah, I can't remember what I did on that one.
I'm a big fan of Castaway. I mean, for a movie that's really long and through most of the movie there's no dialogue. It's just Tom Hanks on the island by himself.
He's had bourbon.
Yeah.
I think so.
I've had bourbon.
He needs some
For
more.
the lack of dialogue throughout most of the movie, I think it's just great. It's just him talking to himself or Wilson, the volleyball or whatever. Wilson.
Yeah, when Wilson falls off that raft, if that doesn't break anybody's heart, I don't know what will.
Well,
I mean,
it
that was almost like shooting Old Yeller.
It was a very well done movie.
It was.
Yeah.
But let's not diminish Silence of the Lambs.
No.
That's
Thomas
another-
Harris.
Yep.
All right. Part of a 3-part series, but by far the crowning jewel of that series. Anthony Hopkins,
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Jodie. What was the girl's name?
I'm going to let you.
I was
struggle.
going to say Jodie Fisher, but that was just a horrible reference
I was
there.
going to say Jody Meeks. That's way off.
He scored 54.
He did.
In Tennessee.
He did.
What was
I think
Jodie
you were
Foster,
right.
Jodie Foster?
Jodie Foster. What did you say?
I said
Jodie Fisher.
Jodie Fisher. It was like
Carrie
Jodie.
Fisher?
No, it was like Jodie Buttafuoco. That was the woman that got her face shot off.
Yeah, that was
Right.
it. That was it.
But anyway, I digress. But you have Anthony Hopkins and
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Super scary.
yeah. Oh my God. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go and say it right now. Silence of the Lambs for me, because I think it was a psychological thriller, and anytime you can do that, be it The Exorcist, be it Seven, be it The Omen,
Yeah.
I think this ranks up there
It does.
because it's a layered scare. It's not a boo
Right.
and you jump and it's over. It is a psychological, and it fucks up with your head, and it stays with you for years after that.
Yeah, yeah. But for me, it's a coin flip. I can go either way. I'll push Castaway forward simply.
But when you hear Anthony Hopkins go, I would eat her with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
right. But I mean, there are so many scenes though from Castaway.
But Castaway
that had that same kind of.
It was Tom Hanks doing Tom Hanks, and
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to belittle that, but when you're talking about, my God, Silence of the Lambs.
It's tough.
I mean, when you talk about Hannibal Lecter, and when the one thing that I always remember about that is that when they measured his pulse, it got lower as he got closer to a kill. It didn't get heightened. Whew. And now when I read honestly, this book made me, this movie made me read all 3 of the books by Thomas Harris.
I didn't know you read.
Exactly. That should tell you volumes.
Exactly.
And when I was reading and
the
I
pictures?
I saw Anthony Hopkins
Yeah.
in my mind.
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
God, Jesus. But that's why it resonates with me.
Yeah.
Is it made me fucking read.
Yeah, who or what does that?
Drop the mic, walk away. I rest my case, sir. All right, so what do you all think? Lloyd.
I'm going Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, we'll push it.
All right. I think it's an amazing, just amazing movie. All right, and I will still watch it Saturday, Sunday, whenever it comes on. In fact, I may watch it this weekend. That sounds like a good one.
A lot of these movies, I'm thinking, I need to watch
I
these
know,
again.
right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you for listening to the show. We really appreciate it. One thing I ask you, make sure you share this stuff out with your friends. If you're enjoying the show, share it out. Make somebody else happy. We're only here for world domination. We can't do that unless you share our stuff. That's enough. Back to the show.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this one has an exceptional reaction from Lloyd. I just want to predict.
I was complaining about this when the bracket came out. Both of these movies.
Because I know Lloyd.
Yes.
And the matchup is The Matrix versus Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I'm just going to shut my pie hole
The
and let him
Matrix
go.
being the number 2 seed,
Yes. Right.
and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Being the number 15.
I feel like I have a unusual love for the Matrix, maybe more than other people do. I just
No.
No.
You have a really weird love for The Matrix.
I don't know. It's just something about
It's strange.
Why is it strange?
Look at your hair.
It's
He
just
could be Neo. You could be Neo.
He could be.
Yeah.
If
Except
Neo
I
was
don't think you know Pearl.
I think I watched it like 3 times in the theater because I kept going back
With
and
me.
watching it. Yes, with you. Yeah.
We both watched it.
it. Yeah, and like the
Remember the one line? This is so funny. We were in a theater here. I think it was here in Frankfurt, and it was Lawrence Fishburne was looking at Neo. He goes, "Do you know what you did?" And I'm like, "He kicked his ass, is what he did." And the theater was
fell apart.
and they just, everybody remember that?
Yes, those kids were just like, yeah,
And I'm like, "My people."
yeah, they were like, yeah. The whole idea of humans just being generators for alien life, and this whole existence just being a put on just to keep us all in line, and the machines are actually in charge. It's just kind of a pretty good mind fuck. I think it's a good.
That's a good explanation, I
It's a
think.
good thing. But Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is also a great
John Goodman's in it.
For a change.
I'll tell you
John
what.
Goodwin.
No. I want to tell you what. I'm a huge fan of John Goodman.
Yeah.
We would have never guessed.
I am. I think John Goodman is great in every movie he's ever been in.
Let's just cut that off there because I've heard the tale of where this conversation goes.
I'm just saying.
The sun will be coming up. You'll still be talking about
I think
John
he's great.
Goodman.
Yes.
I think he's great.
Yeah.
In every movie he's ever been in.
And he's
With
not
A
even
Few Good Men.
But he's not a major part of this movie, really. He's just a secondary character.
Doesn't
in
matter.
Oh Brother.
It doesn't matter.
You got George Clooney.
Who else? Exactly. I mean, it's a very good ensemble cast, but it's not really notable ensemble cast. The performance is notable, not the people.
Right.
Correct. The characters make Oh Brother.
And
Where
when
Art Thou.
you hear Alison Krauss saying, "Walk down to the river to pray,"
You know, I've played music with her.
really,
Yeah.
I will tell you what. If I ever make it to heaven, which there's no chance I will,
Yeah, he was time.
that's the way the angels sound
Yep.
to me.
I
Is Alison
envision
Krauss?
that. Yes.
That's when I think about angels singing. That's Alison Krauss.
She's about as tall as this mic stand.
And fat or skinny, I would hit that 10 times a day and twice on Sunday. Because I need rest on Sunday, is what I'm saying. but Lloyd, you're going to go with The Matrix.
I'm going to go with The Matrix, yes. It's just too strong a movie.
All right, now, Root.
I absolutely love the Matrix trilogy. I love them all.
We can't talk about the three. You got to
Okay.
talk about the one.
Then the one.
The one.
You see what he
The
did
one,
there?
yeah. Hey!
You know, you're not the only talent on this show.
Well, and like Lloyd said,
Honestly, I have no idea what that was, but evidently two nerds looked at me and thought I was king, so I was all right with that.
I knew he did it by mistake. I knew he did it by
No
mistake.
damn idea what I was saying.
So, but what Lloyd referenced about the basic theme of this universe that the Matrix takes place in is it's always struck a chord with me too. And when that movie came out, I was getting into the network security field in a serious way, and a group of students that I was in a certification course with at the time, we all saw this flick together, and we all immediately started the Red Pill Club, or the Red Pill Club. And
That's a whole different thing now.
Yeah.
Just look into that on Reddit. That's a whole damn different thing.
is it?
Yeah, don't say that in public.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, it's really not. It's weird. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
So, but anyway,
And I know what you're talking about. Red, blue.
Yeah,
Which one do you choose? I get that.
and I mean, I love that flick. This choice was really, really tough for me because both of them tell these archetypal tales. And
And John Goodman's in Old Brother, Where Art Thou?
is he?
He is.
I knew the Cyclops was in. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou.
And then Stephen Root, two of the best character actors of all time, is in that movie. Stephen Root and John Goodman.
But was there a red swing line stapler in Oh Brother? I don't
If
think
there wasn't,
was.
there should have been. I think there was one on that table when he was the blind producer.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
I'm gonna go and agree with you all. I think in this matchup that the Matrix has to move out from this.
I actually chose Oh Brother. To move
Really?
forward. I did.
Are you still choosing that?
Yes. Yes.
But,
And my reason for it goes back to my history bent. The language that they used in that movie, the dialogue
Resonates.
it was so well done. That pushed Oh Brother out for me.
you know, I'll be honest with you. I did not expect to be the deciding factor on this, and I did not fill out a bracket. I wanted to do this on the fly because I created the bracket, and I did not want to have it predisposed. I want to hear the discussion and move forward accordingly. I remember when Lloyd and I watched The Matrix back in the day, and I think I probably watched it with you all three times that you went to the theater. I will say I am a huge Keanu Reeves hater.
What?
I fucking hate everything Point Break, Matrix. I don't like it. I mean,
John Wick?
He's been
John Wick?
All right. There's going to be a tangent.
No.
Like John Wick.
Constantine.
Oh no! We're talking about John Wick, fucker. You
We'll
brought
get-
it up.
we'll
I'm
get to
gonna
Constantine
speak
in
to
a
it.
minute.
All right. He's the best of the best. Any movie, any movie that starts off with "He's the best of the best." Let me tell you something.
But they shot his dog.
There is only so many people that are the best of the best. All right,
he's one of 'em.
we're now in 2019. Fucker ain't best of the best. And then he is in. I just want to be left alone.
With
I
his
just-
dog.
And then somebody shot my dog.
Shoots
No.
the dog that his
I don't give a
woman
shit.
who died gave to him.
That is the worst storyline in the history of storylines.
Every country song ever written had something to do with somebody kicking or shooting a dog.
And guess what? They were not awesome songs.
Stole his car, killed his dog.
Oh my God, they messed up a Mustang and killed a beagle. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about any of that. So that's my issue with Matrix. It's not the storyline. It's that Keanu Reeves is in it. And then I have Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which I love. I love the music. I love the acting. I love the campiness of it. I love the pomade that George Clooney puts in his hair. And I love that. And what was it? I wished him into a horny toad. You know, something like that. I love all that.
Delmar.
But at the end of the day, I appreciate your input. Appreciate your input.
Now here we go.
At the end of the day, it's the Matrix.
Why?
Woo, Matrix.
Matrix is because the special effects. I think the thoughts that it gives you to a Big Brother type thing, a alternate universe, and all that sort of stuff. I think it's much more thought provoking than Big Brother.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother.
Or
Big Brother.
the
TV
movie
show.
or the TV show. I'm going to go with Oh Brother. Not
What? But there is a lot of memorable things in Oh Brother.
Yeah, I think they're really, and the fact that we're having this
Lord.
discussion about two polar opposite.
My entire Northeast bracket just got fucked.
Yeah, well, the conversation that George Clooney says, these two soggy bottom boys.
Yeah.
I'm
And
the
I
only
will
one
tell
here
you what,
unaffiliated.
Anytime I sing "Song of Constant Sorrow," I am putting my neck up to that microphone just like George Clooney did because I think it
Now,
worked.
do you sing that often? I'm just
I do.
curious.
No, it's in my playlist.
Oh,
yeah.
You play it,
Yeah.
not sing it.
I do sing it.
Oh, gosh.
I don't play anything. I can't play a radio. I mean, I sing it.
Oh, gosh.
I sing and I nail it when I do.
I love the soundtrack. I own the soundtrack, and I bought the movie, burn it to the hard drive, and then strip the video out of it so I could listen to just the dialogue.
And the Soggy Bottom Boys, is that the ones who sing the
Well,
song?
Supposedly in the movie, but not really.
That's the name of the band in the movie.
In the movie.
What,
That's not who sings it.
what's the ones
it
who
was-
sing with Alison Krauss? It's her
that-
backup
Union
group.
Station.
Well,
Alison Krauss and Union Station.
Yeah, Union Station played the music. Dan Tominski sang the song.
So, with that being said, we're at the end of the first round. Wow.
No, we're not.
We're not?
No.
We got the southeastern
Oh, fuck!
region to go.
This seems to be going longer than I thought.
That's what I told you.
You know, round one just takes a long time.
It does.
So,
And the second round will go much faster.
sure.
So, we're going to move ahead with The Matrix, yes?
Matrix.
No.
Yes. Matrix.
The Matrix. I'm going to have to move ahead with The Matrix. But I think you see that. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
I
you
mean,
see that.
yeah.
That's not anything surprising. So let's go with the first bracket. Oh, the number one seed in the north. No, the southeast bracket. I'm sorry. There's been 4 roses, fucker. There's roses. There's directions.
He's all confused.
Number one seed, Pulp Fiction versus Toy Story. Now, I'm going to say,
This is not fair.
no, but but number 1 versus the 16.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I understand that.
But this evening, I talked to my kids about what we're going to do on the podcast. 10-year-old instead of 8-year-old twin girls. And I was really impressed with my kids looked at me and said, Dad, that's a really entertaining thing to do.
Cool.
And then I'm like, and they said, well, what if we did that with kid shows or kids movies?
Okay.
And it just became a topic. And they mentioned Toy Story.
Okay.
And I remember watching Toy Story with my kids. Again, we have Tom Hanks showing up again, right? And it's the first of I want to say 4-part.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're getting ready to make a 5th.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah.
Fantastic storyline, fantastic animation. And it's something that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Wasn't that Pixar's first?
Yes. Well, I don't know if it's first, but it was Pixar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
It's
and I
Pixar.
think it was Pixar's best.
Okay.
And I still quote it with my kids. And I find it to be a very good movie. And then you have Pulp Fiction, that is Quentin Tarantino's flagship. Uma Thurman, John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson. You got a myriad of different players in that. And let me ask you guys this. Uma Thurman. All right, we talked about beauty that transfers over generations. I think that if you saw her at the Fayette Mall on a Thursday, she wouldn't even turn your head.
Have you ever noticed every time he kicks out one of these examples, it's a Thursday?
Tuesday, normally. I went Thursday because you don't pay attention. That's why I did it. Because you don't fucking pay attention. But if you saw Uma Thurman, I mean, she looks very long and gangly, right?
Yeah.
And she doesn't have a classic, but my God, when she's in these movies, whether she's Poison Ivy, whether she's in Kill Bill, whether she's in Pulp Fiction, my God, she's sexy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up with an intense love affair with Daryl Hannah. But
I don't think this has anything to
no,
do with
it
that.
does. It does
Okay.
because in Kill Bill, they're two of the sisters. Black Mamba was Daryl Hannah, and Cottonmouth was Uma Thurman.
Okay.
And they had this big, huge fight scene.
I remember that one.
Yeah, yeah. And I come out of there thinking,
I need
think Uma's-
I need to rub some out. That's what you came
I
out
know what
thinking.
he was thinking about.
We all know what you were thinking.
and Daryl's got some years on her now. And
So does Uma.
yeah, but I think Uma wears a little better. I really
Absolutely.
do.
I'd have a hard time in the throes of passion talking about, oh, Daryl.
That's a valid point.
That's the best line. That's the best line we had on this show all time.
Yep, yep. That one makes the cut.
Oh. All right, Pulp Fiction moves on.
Yes.
We're not gonna step on that one.
I'm gonna have to break him out on that
Oh
one.
Jesus Christ, that was funny. Well done, Lloyd. He's
Yes,
off
well,
probation
off
again.
probation. Off probation. That
All
was
right,
a pro
so-
move right there.
Give him some bourbon. That fucker's
Yeah.
funny.
When he actually talks.
No, right?
I'm very selective.
No, he and Alex have very similar qualities.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't say much, but when they do, it's a haymaker.
And that's a reference to a brother.
What?
Now, and then all the air left away.
There's Clooney and Delmar are sitting in that diner. They're sitting in the restaurant.
Right.
And the Cyclops comes up and invites them out to dinner.
Okay.
And
John Goodman, by the way.
Yeah.
John Goodman.
and Everett is doing whatever it does, talking.
Horny toad.
That's Delmar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Delmar chimes in because Cyclops said, "I'm sorry, where was I?" And Delmar chimes in with Genesis, Bible salesman. And the Cyclops, John Goodman,
John Goodman.
says, "I salute you, sir. You don't say much, but when you do, it is to the point."
That's a long way to go there, but you got there. All right, I'll give you that. It wasn't like you were talking about animal cruelty and abortion.
Or
Anyway.
1862 in Middlesboro. But I could
God.
tell you how
No,
Colonel Gallup,
Stop it.
14th Kentucky.
Stop it. Nip it. Next two matchups are Men in Black versus Rocky. Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith versus Sylvester Stallone and a lot of sweat. and Apollo Creed and all of the stuff that Rocky
I don't
is.
think this is really all that close. You know, Men in Black, funny movie in its time, but, you know, Rocky is just the great American tale.
Oh,
All right, so all right. It sounds like that Lloyd is very clear in his choice.
It does.
And Root had some sort of phlegm
Yeah, something
reaction.
happened there. Some sort of
Men in Black all day long. It's a modern comedy. It's Will Smith at probably his finest outside of iRobot. And
No, Will Smith in his finest was Hitch.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Will Smith and Hitch. That was awesome.
Yeah,
It was pretty damn good.
It's hard to find a movie with Will Smith in it that's not good, other than
sounds
that
like
thing
you're a
that
little
he was
gay
with
for
his son. It's some sci-fi
I
flick.
don't-
Yeah, let's not talk about it. But I'm a huge Men in Black fan. I think Rocky was overdone. It was overproduced at the time. It is a great tale, but I'm over it.
Again, I sit in the seat of judgment, and I think it's probably pretty good because I'm the one that didn't fill out a bracket.
Yeah.
Men in Black, everything that Root said, absolutely true. I find it very funny. I find it. You're talking about duality in the universe, and that there is aliens around us that we don't see.
Yep.
And
We work with most of them, I think.
I think I saw 3 of them today.
They were in my office.
They were. But then you talk about Rocky. There are some movies that are good. There are some movies that are great. And there are some movies that are iconic. And sadly, I think that Rocky is iconic. Sylvester Stallone, not a great actor. The lady that played Adrian, not a great actress. But the movie was iconic.
Well, there was the penguin was in Rocky.
There is a statue in Philadelphia of Rocky standing up there with his arms up. That's iconic. Men in Black isn't. So Rocky moves forward. And I don't have really a passion for either.
Yeah.
But
I
moving,
mean, I cannot discount the impact that the Rocky franchise has had.
an underdog story, all that shit
Right,
that
right.
works.
It's what and who we are.
And I don't know about y'all, but at our age, I went and saw Rocky in theater, and I was a very violent young man, and I had a date, really rare back in the day. I did not date a lot back in the day, and I had a date, and I wanted to take her to Rocky, and she was late, and this was when Rocky opened up. So I picked her up, and I took her to the theater, and we were late, and I had to sit in the fucking front row to the left. It's one thing to sit in the front row.
You're off to the
Another thing to
side,
sit
it's
to
just-
one of the sides.
Yeah.
And I was a little angry. And so I'm looking at Rocky straight up, And,
Don't look under shorts.
and it's not easy. It's not easy to watch Rocky, and it wasn't in Dolby Sound or HD or anything back in the day. And she kept yabbering in my ear. So already, you both know me. If somebody's late, I'm not happy.
Right.
Right.
She was late, and she's talking during Rocky. So
Did you walk home?
She ended up leaving by her own choice because I'm like, you can either shut the fuck up or you can leave, and she left, and I was happy. And then after the movie, I got in a fucking fight because I was all fired up from the movie.
And fighting with the girl.
I ended up getting a fight, and I got like every Rocky movie afterwards. I got in a fight because I had a visceral reaction to the adrenaline and everything was in that movie. So I think that speaks to the power of the movie, and also the anger of the boy.
Remind me not to go to a fight movie with you.
No,
Because-
Fight Club, no.
Fight Club.
No, I am too old to get in fights anymore. One or both of us are going to the hospital, if not the morgue.
I've seen you. I'll cut you. I'll bring a stick.
Good luck getting that close.
All right, so next matchup. Oh, there could not be more two polar opposite movies. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy.
John Candy, not John Goodman.
Although
John
he would
Goodman
fit
in every
right
movie.
Wouldn't
in that cast.
He would have been
great.
better.
Yeah.
He would have been
That'd be
better.
great.
Because he's better in everything.
John Candy and Steve Martin in Full Metal Jacket, which is arguably one of the most demented and hardened of all the war movies.
Animal Mother is my hero.
And the fact that he was in CSI or Criminal Law and Order, Criminal Intent, the guy that was the crazy guy in Full Metal Jacket, ended up being the lead in Criminal Intent.
Yes.
Delfornio or whatever his name is.
that guy.
Oh, and then the drill sergeant. Anytime you think of a drill sergeant,
he's
if
the
you've
guy.
not been in the military,
And his last name's Army.
yes,
Ermy. Arlie.
he died.
Ermy. Yeah, he did pass.
Still currently dead.
But when if you've never been in the military and you're wondering what a drill sergeant's like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's what you
That
envision.
character.
That's what you
Yeah,
envision.
No, that is the guy.
And again, that is a great portrayal.
Yes.
And then you have the zealot in there that is mentally on the edge,
I wouldn't go to say
emotionally on the edge.
that he was a zealot, though.
No, I'm talking about the drill sergeant, and he was the guy that pushed the guy over the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he could have maneuvered him either way, and he pushed him to be an animal
Yeah.
Yeah.
instead of being a soldier.
And then he snapped. He just
Yeah. Well, daggone it, Private Pyle he had his own issues when he was coming in the service.
And back then,
like
a
that.
lot of those guys did.
Sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Private Pyle had already flipped that switch,
Well, you saw it by the look on his face.
and then the stress of the environment.
But the
did
fact
in.
that the drill sergeant didn't see that and kept pushing and
Well-
kept pushing and kept pushing.
when I was in basic, we had our own Private Pyle. His name was Private. We had our own Private Pyle,
His name was Tom.
and
The
This-
identity of these
this
people have
kid-
been.
you know, our PT field was a parking lot, so you're out there doing push-ups on the pavement, and this kid cut his hand, and as he's pushing, I mean, the blood's pooling out like this. He doesn't stop. Good on him, right? But
No, that's not right.
well, but
If
I
you're
mean,
bleeding, fucking stop.
but
That's what humans do.
it wasn't stopping him from pushing. It wasn't disabling him.
It could kill him, but it was not stopping him.
But it it wasn't arterial spread.
oh, well,
But this is where it got weird.
That sounds like an album.
I live in a
Arterial
subdivision.
spread.
He didn't go to sit call for it, and a bunch of us. He was in my training platoon, and we kept telling him, you gotta go get this looked at. It's infected. No, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. Now, I can't remember in Full Metal Jacket if the gas chamber was portrayed in that movie.
I don't recall because it's a war movie. I'll watch it once. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, when our Private Pyle was, we go into the gas chamber, and it's basically a room, probably about the size of this space that we're in, and they just have open canisters of CS gas, right, tear gas, and the objective to the exercise is to teach you to trust that damn mask. You walk in with the mask on, and they tell you to take the mask off, and deep breaths, say the soldier's creed, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Well, the rest of us sitting in there, eyes pouring down, snot
He's wide
pouring,
open.
and he's holding his helmet and the mask, saying, I quote it, "What do I do now?" And we're all like, "What the fuck are you doing? What kind of home do you come from where the gas chamber is boring?" So, but this kid completed basic, goes on to AIT, makes a fine soldier. I have to believe, though, that there was something wrong with this kid.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I think that's in the military. I mean, there are those kids that get sent to the military because they have some issues, and they hope that they're going to help stomp out those issues. And many times they do.
Yeah.
And then sometimes
Sometimes they don't,
and we have Full Metal Jacket.
and we have Private Pyle there.
But now, planes, trains, and automobiles, they're going to lose in this one. All right, they're
Thank
the
you.
wedding crashers of this bracket.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Agreed.
the fact that John Candy and Steve Martin had the most profanity ever uttered in a motion picture in the history of cinema in this movie, and it stands today.
Really?
When he lost his mind at the check-in counter at the airport. And you have Steve Martin being the stereotypical everybody's father, and he's really clean, he's very smart, and all that. He cussed more. And also, this is an odd story. He also was the first person to ever use profanity on network television.
I do
On
remember
Saturday
that
Night
one.
Live, he said the word hell over 23 times.
on purpose.
What the hell is going on? What the hell is that? So literally, there has been 2 records set by Steve fucking Martin.
Wow.
On profanity. It wasn't Richard Pryor. Wasn't
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. It wasn't Robin Williams. It was Steve Martin.
That's
So
crazy.
There's
George Carlin.
right,
Oh,
right,
people.
right.
George Carlin, yeah.
Or Andrew fucking Dice
Dice
Clay.
Clay.
So I think Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket moves
Yeah, it's
on.
gotta
But we can't say this matchup without going, those aren't pillows. I mean,
How
it's
about them Bears?
And if you want to watch a movie that makes you feel good at the end, just watch that. It's funny.
I don't know.
It's cute. It's adorable. All right. Now this next matchup is this is an oddity in that we have 2 comedies that are matched up together.
I don't know. I think I've lived Office Space.
Oh God. We all do. So the matchup is Back to the Future and Office Space.
I think I had Office Space.
I'm going to start off with this one.
Okay.
Back to the Future. Michael Keaton, not Michael Keaton.
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox and everybody else, and the crazy guy from Taxi, Jim, Crazy
Kaufman.
Jim from Taxi.
Andy Kaufman? No.
No, fuck no, it ain't. Jesus Christ.
He was crazy though.
Jim.
He's waving his hand like he's conjuring
Well,
something.
fuck. I hope one of y'all would know something. Just one of you.
I could tell you a story about Middlesbrough in 1862. There was this big
No.
explosion.
So there was Back to the Future, and you've got. Here's my issue with Back to the Future. Everybody knows everything about Back to the Future.
Yes.
Right? Drink the bourbon. I poured it. There's ice melted. Drink the fucker.
Okay.
So Michael J. Fox goes back in time, tries to fix stuff, whatever.
I think that violates prime
He
directive.
almost has sex with his mother.
That is a little disturbing.
He does. He comes very, very close to having sex with the mother. This isn't Pornhub, fucker. This is 1980 cinema. So there's that, and then there's Office Space,
Yeah.
which there have been a few cult classic movies
I was told I could listen to my radio.
within a reasonable volume between the hours of 9 and 11. You know, I'm a people person. So what is it you do? We're meeting with the Bobs today. You know, I mean, there's just
So many lines. From
the
that
O
movie.
face and all that.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston. Oh my God. Turn over to channel 2. There's 2 women.
It's the breast exam. Could you please act like we can't hear each other through the walls?
And my favorite scene of all time, any movie ever, the printer scene.
Oh, when they just beat the shit out of
Oh
them.
my
It's
God.
a
It
fax
feels good
machine,
to
isn't
be a
it?
gangster.
No, it's an old HP LaserJet.
Okay.
And they kept getting the error PC load letter.
You know they designed those in 1862.
Right there in Middlesbrough. I was trying to tell you.
All right. And then when the white guy, Michael Bolton,
yeah.
is in the car in the traffic jam listening to like some heavy metal rap.
Yeah.
And then he like stops it
Stops it and turns it
and
down.
then turns it up and turns it down. Office Space moves on.
We use
Yeah.
we use
Right?
that we use
Yeah.
lines from that. You know.
Is there anything that we don't say? Office Space moves on.
Yeah,
right?
Office Space moves on, but the line where that'll make somebody work just hard enough to not get fired. I use that all the time too.
I lived that one too.
The jump to conclusions match. All right. So next matchup, Nerd Alert: Lords of the Rings versus Blues Brothers.
Oh, son, this one's tough. This one's tough.
Only to the nerds. Nerds, please chime in.
I got Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers.
I got Blues Brothers going
Nobody's
forward.
going to defend Lord of the Rings.
No, because it's fucking weird.
No,
There's dwarfs. There is
Hobbits.
talking trees
Hobbits.
and talking
They
trees.
They have really big feet. I like them.
You have 5,000 cop cars crashed in Blues Brothers.
It's
Illinois Nazis.
John
I
Belushi.
hate Illinois Nazis.
Can this thing go any faster?
It's John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Aretha Franklin. I mean, my God, really?
Stand by your man.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher.
Yep.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
So many amazing performances.
And if you're
in
talking
Blues
about
Brothers.
the soundtrack of something,
It's got cop.
Well, and I mean,
and the best chasing ever.
oh yeah, through them all. That was
Yes.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's got cop tires, cop shocks.
but Lord of the Rings. I mean, I had to push Blues Brothers through simply because of that soundtrack, and the fact that those guys played their own shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi started a band, literally. And you got Ray Charles playing seconds
Oh, that's right.
to the
I forgot about
Blues
that.
Brothers. All right. When Ray Charles shows up and says, "Y'all got some good shit here. I'm gonna just be a fixture."
Wow. Yeah.
So
And Matt Guitar
Murphy.
Murphy.
Guitar Murphy.
well, and
an iconic musician.
all of
What is
those
he?
guys,
Shut up.
What is he again?
all
want
of
a drink?
those guys
Oh, no
are.
good.
It works better if you take the cork out. I'm just letting you know. But
Ain't my first time at the rodeo.
all of those musicians are some at the time some of the best known studio
Trombone
musicians.
player.
Yeah.
and- yeah.
They-
Get the band back together.
the absolute best studio musicians
So
around.
Blues Brothers.
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're on a mission from God.
And
All right.
what kind of music did they like?
Blues.
What kind of music did they like, Lloyd?
Who?
The Blues Brothers. What kind of music do they play?
Blues?
No, they play both kinds, country and western.
that's
Come
right.
on now.
That's right.
Oh, when they're going
Country and
when they're doing the
western.
rawhide.
Yeah,
At the
at Bob's Country
Sometimes
Bunker.
it's hard to be a woman.
DIVORCE. No, I don't think they sung that. I just want to do it.
This next matchup is not even fair.
No, it's not.
No,
because
it's not.
It's
It's
a
not
1
even.
versus a 2.
You mean 1 versus 16?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a 2 versus a 15.
2 versus 15. Well, it's not even fair.
Oh, we're just throwing out numbers. It's the
You were absolutely drunk when you did the Southeast Regional because there is no close matches in here. I don't really see them.
All right. The fact that you don't do anything and you criticize
Hey,
me,
I'm the talent. I'm the talent.
this is me flipping him off. Right there. So the Breakfast Club versus the Big Lebowski. All right, we all know who's going to win.
You
this.
got a little coming of age movie. It's very cute. It's got some iconic.
Molly Ringwald,
Yeah, Molly Ringwald.
You know,
Ali Sheeny.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right,
That was one that
Emilio
always had my
Estevez.
attention.
She's hot, but she looked like she probably smells.
Who?
Ali
Molly-
Sheedy in that movie.
I agree, but that soap and water fixes that. And then Molly Ringwald, that little redhead that lets you look up her skirt in detention. Oh, you know, I mean, my nipples are hard. But the Big Lebowski, we've got John Goodman.
We've got Jeff Bridges.
It is arguably one of my favorite movies ever.
Absolutely.
There is I have no issue with this movie in any way, in any part. I mean, you have Steve Buscemi
Steve Buscemi, yes.
that dies in it. and
Jeez,
he
Donnie.
and
Shut the
every-
fuck up, Donnie.
Every time that he
hates
speaks,
him.
John
John
Goodman
Goodman's-
loses his fucking mind.
Shut up, Donnie. Jeez.
I got to tell you, James, all the shit I'm giving you about this Southeast bracket, this movie, it really pulls this bracket together, man.
It brings the whole bracket
It's like
together.
a rug that just ties the whole room together. It ties the whole bracket together.
Okay, so the Big Lebowski moves forward.
Yeah, no
And
discussion
with that, we have the end of the.
No,
the-
we don't.
We do not.
Damn, you're in a hurry. I'm the one that's got to drive home.
Really?
He's given.
Wizard of Oz versus Scarface.
Where the fuck? I'm lost.
I'm going to wave this piece of paper in front of his face again.
This
You know,
is
you know,
all right. I got
this
it.
is indicative. See, you get to the Big Lebowski, and he's like, "Just hand
Yeah,
it
he's
to
done.
him. I'm
He's done. He's out.
Honestly, the game's over at this point. If you have John Goodman and Jeff Bridges, I'm out. Julianne Moore had full frontal nudity. You have awesome humor, you have iconic quotes, and you have full frontal nudity. I'm fine with that.
And nobody fucks with the Jesus.
And you have Jesus bowling. All right, so you're right. Next bracket. This is a bit of a buzzkill. These next two are Wizard of Oz versus Scarface. So people dying versus Toto. Not the group. Not the group.
So we're not going to break out to Africa. There's a reason he's in radio. folks.
Wizard of Oz versus Scarface. Al Pacino. All right, I'm going to start here. Scarface, awesome. Very genre-based, very period-based. Not even the best of the gangster movies. I would put Godfather in front of it. I would put Goodfellas in front of it.
Absolutely.
I think Scarface loses because it's not even the best of its genre.
I 100% agree.
Is The Wizard of Oz the best wizard movie?
We done kicked out Lord of the Rings. So.
And Harry Potter.
And Harry Potter, we did, yeah.
But I think that The Wizard of Oz makes this because it is the oldest movie in our bracket. Because it still matters.
Yeah.
My kids still know it.
Yeah.
It has a feel-good feel about it. Wicked Witch of the West, Good Witch of the East, all that sort. Yeah, I think it works.
This is the Wicked Witch of the Southwest.
Yeah. Southeast, but okay.
So Wizard of Oz, yes?
Absolutely.
All right, Wizard of Oz moves forward. Now, this is the biggest gap of the whole bracket.
This is the three bourbons in fucked up matchup right
All right,
here.
so hear this, kids. Schindler's List versus Blazing Saddles. So either way, we're either anti-Semitic or we're racist.
Yeah.
Where the white women at?
There is no winning this. If you're talking about uncomfortable, you're welcome.
Yeah, here you go, right here.
So, someone jump on this one.
Oh my goodness.
This will probably get me in trouble with these boys, but I believe that this is absolutely Mel Brooks' finest moment.
Yes,
Blazing Saddles.
absolutely.
Hands down.
Not even close.
There is nothing that came after that. History of the World Part 2 was fun.
Really good. The P-Boy
Yeah.
was really good in that movie.
But I just
This is his
the
crowning
best.
achievement.
This is the best
Yeah.
that you'll ever see from Mel Brooks.
Where are the white people at?
No, you got to say it right.
Where are the white women at?
What are white women at?
You know, Schindler's List was a very powerful movie to watch.
What?
The fact that he drops down an octave.
I know.
You know, Schindler's List
have
was a very powerful movie to watch. And I teared up when I watched it. And then there was a moment that I took to myself.
Next on NPR. However,
Oh, here we go.
all of us have probably watched the movie once and probably will never watch it again.
No, there's no reason to ever watch it
Never.
again.
I
Reason
There's
to watch
none.
It.
I own it. I'll watch it every now and then.
You the one that bought it. Because,
Am I the only one?
on
right?
holidays, let's watch Schindler's List.
You know what he did?
Sometimes I need the reminder.
You know what he did? He stripped out the audio and just listens to the soundtrack.
No, I enjoy the warp the warp flicks. I enjoy this kind of movie because sometimes you need the reminder.
I get that, and that was a really buzzkill after his amazing statement. This is really tough because we all understand the nature of the Schindler's List. We get that. We get that. But, like Lloyd said, you watch it once. Do you really want to feel that way again?
Yes.
God, he's sadistic.
All
right, so you're saying Schindler's.
Absolutely, Sean.
I'm saying Blazing Saddles. Not saying any more about it right now because I think next round we'll have a chance to talk about it more. But I think Blazing Saddles.
For me, if I were talking about the best movie, Schindler's. If I was talking about my favorite movie, it'd be Blazing Saddles.
I enjoy them both.
So I'm going to go Blazing Saddles.
Oh, God.
Blazing Saddles. Moving on.
So can I safely say that this is the end of the first round?
Oh
I
my
believe
God.
so.
Yes, finally.
That seemed to be a bit arduous.
Okay.
Is what I'm
So that's the first round of 64 in the slightly uncomfortable March Madness movie triathlon or athlon or whatever the fuck this is. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back with the rest of this stuff, man. It's going to be a hell of a show. Y'all make sure to stay tuned.